Chapter 25:47. The three powerhouses went out, and everyone continued to wait inside, feeling uneasy. This wait lasted for 4 months. There was no news during these 4 months. No barbarians came. Hermit Coal Mountain did not come back. Everyone believed that he would not come back. They were confused. They felt they had lost their leader. There were some warriors at the peak of the fifth tribulation here, but they were not useful here. If they could use divine energy, then they would be useful. Here, there was no difference between the peak of the fifth tribulation and the peak of the fourth tribulation in the outside world. No one was in the mood to go out. They wanted to stay here quietly for a while, waiting for a slim chance. Maybe one day, Hermit Coal Mountain would come back. Maybe the three powerful warriors that went out would bring back some news. More importantly, what could they do when they went out? What else could they do other than to court death? Not even Hermit Coal Mountain could come back. If they dared to go out, they would be doomed. Luli had been cultivating for a long time, but he did not make much progress. Apart from the improvement of divine energy and soul, his physical body was improved as well. The fact that he had consumed so many elixirs made more people think that he was a demon. Otherwise, how could a warrior at the initial stage of the fourth tribulation have so many elixirs? Luli was not worried. He could cultivate here for a few years. He believed that Hermit Coal Mountain would not die so easily. Therefore, Luli wanted to wait. Another 2 months passed. Outside, Luli sensed some ripples. He was alarmed. Blood Fairy sent a message as well. Master, one of the three that went out has come back. Let him in. Luli ordered at once. At the same time, he opened his eyes and stood up. Luli had been cultivating in a low-key manner. His unusual behavior had caught many people's attention. Soon, there was a glare as a man dashed in. Countless people were alarmed. They looked over, and when they saw the person who had rushed in, they were instantly delighted. Old Lu and the others flew up and shouted, "Old Chung, you're finally back." Many people stood up delighted. Finally, one of the three that went out had come back. Even though it was only one, it was good news. That being said, many people had a bad feeling when they saw the look on Cheng's face. He looked awful. Let's talk inside. It's a long story. Old Chung sighed slightly and walked in with the others. After taking a seat, Old Cheng's first words made everyone's heart sink. The scholar has passed away. I saw with my own eyes his body being hung above an earthen city. Not only him, but also Lord Xiang Xiong's body. Boom! Many people's faces turned pale. Lord Xiang Xiong was a famous expert and the strongest expert in Ivory City. Yet he was hung on the city wall. What did that mean? This meant that there were terrifying experts among the savages. The savages also knew that these two were supreme experts of the human race, and they had purposely hung them on the city walls to lower the morale of the human race. Now that the two lords were dead, how could they survive? Old Chung continued to narrate what he had seen and heard. The three of them had been chased by the barbarians and had been fleeing for their lives. The barbarians had also sent out some experts. If it wasn't for Old Chung having some tricks up his sleeves, he might not have been able to return. The other two were killed by the barbarians on the way. Along the way, Old Chung saw many corpses. The 200,000 to 300,000 people who had entered were basically all dead. At most, there were less than 10,000 people left. The remaining people might have hidden themselves, and there was no way they could fight the barbarians head-on. According to Old Chung, there were a lot of barbarians here. A conservative estimate was that there were 2 to 3 million of them, and they were divided into several big tribes. Although they were very backward, they were very intelligent. It was obvious that they were united against outsiders, and they would kill any human who came from the human race without mercy. After running for so long, Old Chung still hadn't found the exit. Perhaps there was no exit at all. After Old Chung finished speaking, he took out his spatial divine item and went into rest. During this period of time, he was both mentally and physically exhausted. He didn't even have time to rest. He had been running all the time. After Old Chung went in, everyone fell silent. They all felt the shadow of death looming over them, and they all felt a little suffocated. The few female cultivators trembled slightly, and their eyes were filled with fear. Women were always relatively weaker. They were very afraid, and they felt like they could die at any time. Everyone didn't know what to do. If they went out, they would die. Were they going to stay here forever? What was the point of staying here? So what if they broke through to the Lord Realm? Hermit Cold Mountain and Lord Xiang Xiong were dead, weren't they? What was more, they didn't know where the exit was. If they knew where it was, they could take the risk and fight their way out. There was hope that they could make it out alive. Panic was spreading in the valley. At this moment, even Lu Li was lost. He didn't know what to do. People were talking about it in the valley, like a market. Everyone was talking at once, but nobody could come up with a good solution. 2 days later, some people couldn't stand the atmosphere anymore. Several warriors of the Fifth Tribulation had a discussion and decided to go out and find the exit. They were ready to risk it all. They would go crazy sooner or later if they stayed here. Let's go out as well. Another day later, hundreds of warriors went out together. The atmosphere here was too depressing. Many people were afraid that they would go crazy in here. They might as well go out and fight. Maybe they could find the exit. They agreed to leave a jade talisman behind. When they found the exit, they would crush the jade talisman and leave marks along the way so that others could find the exit. 5 days later, another 400 to 500 warriors left in batches. Some left in batches, with dozens at a time, and some hundreds at a time. Everyone knew that the more people there were, the easier it would be for something to go wrong. It would be safer to go in small groups. Of course, there was no such thing as safety in this world. They could run into barbarians at any place. It all depended on who could survive longer. Lu Li didn't go out. He was not anxious, and he needed time to cultivate as well. After a few days, almost all the warriors that dared to go out had left. There were only about 1,000 left in the valley. The rest had all left. Clearly, the 1,000 warriors were afraid to go out. More than half of the Fifth Tribulation warriors had gone out. There were less than 30 left. Lu and Chung were still here. Many didn't go out mainly because of these two. They should be the most powerful ones here. Chung woke up, but he didn't go out. Instead, he stayed with Lu to discuss the situation. In the end, they decided to wait for half a year or a year so that the barbarians wouldn't pay so much attention to them. If those who went out did not bring back any news, then they would take action. 3 years. Lu Li set a goal for himself. If nothing unexpected happened, he would cultivate in the valley for 3 years to see if he could make any progress on divine chains of order. Chapter 25:48. After 3 years, there were less than 300 people left in the valley. Lu and Chung had left. Many warriors of the Fifth Tribulation had left as well. There were only 7 warriors of the Fifth Tribulation, and one of them was at the peak of the Fifth Tribulation. People were leaving, but none came back. Not a single one. Those who walked out of the valley seemed to have walked into hell, and all of them disappeared. The atmosphere in the valley was growing depressing. That was why there were fewer people in the valley. Those that stayed were either mentally strong or afraid of death. Clearly, the majority of them were afraid of death. None of the female warriors left. They spent their days flirting with others as if they were enjoying the last happy moment of their lives. They did not have any scruples. Some of them tried to flirt with Lu Li, but he scolded them away. Lu Li wouldn't be interested in them even if they didn't do such things, let alone when they were flirting with others right in front of him. He didn't need to vent his depression in such a way. That was right. Lu Li was depressed. The main reason was that he did not make much progress in cultivation. His physical body and soul were growing, and his divine energy was growing fast. However, he did not make much progress in the study of the traces of fundamental principles in the past 3 years. Lu Li had always believed that he had a good understanding of fundamental principles. However, it had been a long time since he made any progress. Inevitably, he felt discouraged. Anger grew in the depth of his heart. Gradually, some negative emotions came into being. It is time to leave. Lu Li opened his eyes. He knew that he was not in a good state of mind. It would be a waste of time to go on. He would rather go out and explore the world. He did not believe that he would die easily. He was not being arrogant. In this world, he could not use divine energy. Lu Li was confident that with his physical strength and soul attacks, he could be as good as a lord. As long as he kept a low profile, his chances of survival would not be low. Blood Fairy was getting better at divine glyphs over the years. Although she had not fully understood and mastered the divine glyphs of the Holy King's daughter, she could easily finish the 2 divine glyphs of Hermit Cold Mountain. It had been 3 to 4 years since this place was discovered, which meant that the indigenous barbarians were still weak in this regard. Luli could tell Blood Fairy to hide some divine glyphs at any time. Luli stood up and glanced at the people nearby. His sudden action caught some people's attention. Seeing that he was about to leave, one of them asked with concern, "My lord, where are you going?" Even though Luli was only at the initial stage of the 4th tribulation, in the eyes of many, he was no different from a powerful demon. Therefore, people addressed him respectfully. That person's words attracted the attention of even more people. Even the peak of the 5 tribulations opened his eyes. "I'm leaving this place," Luli said. Warriors in the valley were nervous. To them, Luli was one of the few powerful warriors. More importantly, Luli understood sacred glyphs. If Luli left, it would be more dangerous for them to stay. Moreover, if they wanted to go out in the future, they would have to forcefully break open the divine inscriptions. Luli could tell that they were worried. He thought about it and said, "I will teach you how to control the divine glyphs. It will be more convenient for you in the future." "Must he go out?" The warrior at the peak of the 5th tribulation said all of a sudden. Luli nodded, but didn't offer any explanation. He didn't want to bring the others with him. It was safer to be alone. "Then how about I go with you?" Unexpectedly, the warrior at the peak of the 5th tribulation suggested. "Lord Lu, you can't leave us behind. We will go with you." "Yes, we don't want to stay in this valley. We will go with Lord Lu and this man." "Let's go. We will go out and have some spectacular fights. It's better than being suffocated here." Many people agreed. Lord Lu was the only warrior at the peak of the 5th tribulation. He was the backbone of the group. If Lord Lu left, many of them would not feel safe here. The weak were used to relying on the powerful. Recently, everyone was under pressure. Naturally, they would want to go with the powerful. Most importantly, many people felt very depressed just by staying here. They were afraid that they would go crazy from being suffocated by this kind of panic and fear. Of course, there were some people who were unmoved. At least more than 100 people showed no intention to go out. Luli was hesitating. He didn't want to go with the others. It was safer for him to be alone. There weren't many powerful warriors here. There were only 7 of the 5th tribulation. Apart from Lord Lu, the others could not be of much help to him. Instead, they would drag him down. Seeing that Luli was hesitating, Lord Lu said with a smile, "My friend, don't worry about us dragging you down. If there is any danger, we can go on our own. If we go together, we can look out for each other." "Yes, yes. Lord, please take us with you. Lord, please do us a favor and take us with you. Lord, as long as you can take us with you, we can serve you on the way," the others echoed. Some of the female warriors even started to flirt. Luli got goosebumps. He waved his hand impatiently and said, "Okay, if you want to go, then go. But if there is any danger, I will not interfere. It's up to you." After a series of negotiations, about 200 people were willing to leave. The remaining 100 people were unwilling to leave and were prepared to continue cultivating in seclusion. Luli told a warrior of the 5th tribulation how to control the divine glyphs. Then, he left with Lord Lu with the 200 people. Phew. Walking out into the fresh air, Luli felt refreshed. The pressure in his heart was lifted. It was the same for the people nearby. The divine glyphs were activated at all times in the valley. Naturally, the air was not so fresh. "Let's go." Luli and Lord Lu looked at each other and took the lead to the north. Lord Lu and Luli walked side by side. Lord Lu asked with curiosity, "My friend, you are still young. You must be quite young." Luli nodded. Lord Lu was surprised. He exclaimed, "My friend, you are so young and yet you are so powerful. It is a blessing and a pity." It was a blessing that Luli was young and promising. It was a pity that Luli was doomed to die here. Luli, on the other hand, did not take it seriously. He said, "Fortune lies in misfortune, and misfortune lies in fortune. Who can say for sure in this world?" As a matter of fact, I think there is a big secret in this world. If we can find it and crack it, not only can we get out, but we can also gain something. Luli still could not figure out why the appearance of an entrance to a small world would cause such a phenomenon. He believed that there must be a big secret in this world. It was up to him if he could crack it. My friend, you have a good attitude. Lord Lu nodded with a smile. Then he said in a low voice, Actually, I have been studying physiognomy and metaphysics. I can tell that you are a man of great fortune. That is why I am willing to go with you. I hope you can lead us to a bright future. Oh. Chapter 2549. Metaphysics of Physiognomy. Lord Lu's words reminded Lu Li of a man, a mortal from the mortal world. Of course, to Lu Li, that man was not a mortal, but a master. Astro Emperor. Astro Emperor once told Lu Li's fortune. He predicted that Lu Li would become an immortal in a year, and that there was a word in I in the family of Lu Ling. All these were verified and accurate. Lu Li also regarded this man as an immortal. It was a pity that Lu Li never saw this man again when he went to look for him. Therefore, Lord Lu's words intrigued Lu Li. A warrior at the peak of the fifth tribulation would not try to please him for no reason. Even if Lu Li had shown some power, it was not worth it for a warrior of the fifth tribulation to lie to him. Lu Li thought about it and asked, Lord Lu, how can you tell that I am a man of great fortune? Everyone here is a warrior of the fourth or fifth tribulation. You must be blessed to be able to cultivate to this stage. You are different, Lord Lu said with a smile. If I am right, you must be from a humble background. You must have come from the mortal world. Eh? Lord Lu's words surprised Lu Li and the others, especially those nearby. All of them were at the third heaven. They had heard about the mortal world, the lowest level of the world, even worse than a small world at the third heaven. Even if a stage 3 child were to go to the mortal world, he would probably be able to sweep through the entire mortal world. Lu Li had come from the mortal world step by step at such a young age. He was indeed a man of great fortune. Lord Lu, what else have you seen? Lu Li asked with a smile. He wanted to see if Lord Lu really knew about this, or if he was just making wild guesses. Lord Lu threw Lu Li a meaningful glance, and then said, If I am not mistaken, you must have come across a heaven-defying opportunity some time ago. If you can make good use of this opportunity, you may be able to reach the supreme realm. Lu Li's pupils contracted. He looked at Lord Lu. At this moment, Lu Li even wondered if this man was the Demon Emperor in disguise. Only the Demon Emperor knew that Lu Li got the divine chains of order from the treasure ground at the Yuting Mountain. None of the 4 forces should know about this. They would all suspect that the Demon Emperor got it. More importantly, Lord Lu said that if Lu Li could make good use of this opportunity, he could reach the Supreme Realm. What was the Supreme Realm? That was naturally the realm of a great emperor. The nameless demon, the Arch, had also said that as long as he completely refined the God sequence chains, his combat power would very likely be comparable to that of a great emperor. Could it be that Lord Lu really had an unfathomable Xian technique? Something's wrong. Lu Li thought about it and said, Lord Lu, if you have such amazing skills, can't you figure out the way out? I can't. Lord Lu shook his head and said, This is a peerless treasure land, but also a dangerous place. The great evil chi here is concealing a lot of things. My attainment in metaphysics is not high enough, so I can't see through the evil chi. However, I believe that if we follow you, our chances of leaving this place will be much higher. Shwa shwa shwa. Many people looked at Lu Li with even more passion, especially the female cultivators. The passion in their eyes almost melted Lu Li. They wouldn't say no even if Lu Li asked them to fight in the wild. Lu Li didn't mind. He said with a smile, Lord Lu, you are kidding me. I don't even see that I am different. I am made of flesh and blood. I can get hurt and I can die. You are different from us. Lord Lu said with certainty, I think you have some kind of rare body. I can't tell what it is exactly, but I think I'm right about one thing. It is difficult for you to have children, right? In other words, you don't have any children, right? What? Lu Li was taken aback. He didn't mind other things, But Lord Lu could tell that he didn't have any children. Not many people knew about this. Could there really be such a mysterious skill in the world? Could it be used to seek fortune and avoid misfortune? Rare body? Lu Li touched his nose. What he cultivated was a supreme body, not a rare one. If it were a rare one, then he should have powerful abilities and strange skills. Just like the Dragon Rebel race or the pure Heaven Blood Eagles, they all had something special. What was so special about him? The thing was, it was difficult for him to have children. This was something that had been bothering him. Lord Lu was right about many things. Could it be true? Let's go. Lu Li didn't want to think about it anymore. Rare body or great fortune, it all depended on whether or not he could survive. If he couldn't survive, then whatever body he had would become a dead body. They moved on quickly. Lu Li didn't want to chat with Lord Lu anymore. He must use the trace of Tao to sense the surroundings. Otherwise, if the barbarians were to sneak up on him, the consequences would be disastrous. 2 hours later, Lu Li suddenly stood up and shouted, "There are barbarians underground, but not many. They're coming out. Be careful." Bang, 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 bang. Not long after Lu Li finished his words, the ground burst open. Then nearly 100 barbarians rushed out. As soon as they came out, many of them began to shoot at them. "Lord Lu, protect us," Lu Li shouted. He didn't hide his abilities anymore. He didn't want to let the nearly 100 barbarians run away, or more would come. He took out his soft sword and dashed forward to fend off more than a dozen white bow and arrows. He released the water of bordering dragon and heaven armor to increase his defensive abilities. The barbarians couldn't break his defense. Buzzing, he easily got close to the barbarians. Then, he shook the flexible sword, and an invisible ripple was released. The two barbarians were instantly hit, and they threw away the bows in their hands. They hugged their heads and rolled on the ground, letting out ghostly wails and wolf howls. Whoosh, whoosh. Lu Li left the barbarians alone after he released the law of sound. He moved quickly and wandered around, swinging his soft sword. Every time he did so, there would be barbarians falling victim. He was fast. In the time for one breath, he had made more than 10 moves. Dozens of barbarians had fallen victim. Woo-woo, the few barbarians left were panicking. But many of their people had fallen victim. Should they leave them behind? While they were hesitating, Lord Lu dashed over. He took out a bell that grew to the size of a hill and smashed at the barbarians. Bang, bang, bang. When the bell was smashed, it would ring. The ringing would make the barbarians dizzy and their ears ringing. When they came back to their senses, the bell would strike again with great force. After several strikes, the barbarians were killed. Since the barbarians didn't attack the others took actions. Even the several female cultivators used their treasures to attack the barbarians rolling on the ground. Under the combined attack of everyone, the group of savages was quickly killed. Not a single one managed to escape. Chapter 2550. They moved on. Since Lord Lu had taken a liking to Lu Li and Lu Li's previous performance, the others had begun to regard Lu Li as their leader. After all, none of them could kill the barbarians as easily as Lu Li could. With Lu Li distracting the barbarians and defending them against the barbarians' attacks, none of them died, and they could kill the barbarians so easily. They moved on, trembling with fear. Nobody knew when a large group of barbarians would come out, and nobody knew when they would die. After half a day, what they were most worried about happened. They arrived at the foot of a mountain. In front of them, there were at least thousands of barbarians. After seeing so many savages, everyone's faces instantly turned pale. It was as if they had seen the Grim Reaper. The female cultivators trembled. One of them said with trembling lips, "Dead, dead. This time, no one can escape." If there were only hundreds of barbarians, they might have a chance. But when there were thousands of barbarians, nobody could. Even if Lu Li and Lord Lu could, they would not be able to protect them. They would be torn apart by the barbarians. "Run!" One of them shouted and was about to run. Lu Li shouted angrily, "Don't panic or none of you will get away. Lord Lu, take them to the hill behind and form a defense formation. I will take care of the barbarians." Everyone was confused. take care of the barbarians? Lu was going to fight thousands of barbarians by himself? Could it be that Lu was a hidden Lord-level master? My friend, be careful. If things go wrong, leave us and run by yourself, Lord Lu said and led the others back to the hill. Woo! Lu shouted. He used the dragon wrestling skill and the heaven armor skill. His chi and energy were released like dragons, attracting all the barbarians. Barbarians were intelligent, and they could sense the strength of humans. They all knew how powerful Lu was when he released such a powerful chi and blood. If they didn't kill this human, it would be pointless to kill the others. Lu's arrogance enraged the barbarians as well. White bone arrows flew towards Lu like a storm. Lu, on the other hand, did not care. He took the white arrows head-on. The arrows bounced off when they made contact with him as if they were shot at meteorites. Woo-woo! Many barbarians rushed over with their bone clubs and started a bloody fight. Lu waved his soft sword, and all the barbarians that came close were attacked in the soul. Lu was unstoppable. He killed his way into the middle of the barbarian army. At that moment, he suddenly stopped and took out his horn. Although his divine power was in a mess, it was not a problem for him to channel a little divine power to activate the horn. Soon, the horn lit up, and an ancient and vicissitude aura filled the air. Woo-woo! Lu blew the horn, which sounded like an ancient tribe charging into battle. After the horn sounded, the savages nearby fell down one by one. The savages who were further away were filled with fear. They looked at Lu as if he was a demon. Whoosh! Lu leaped up and blew the horn. He dashed toward the barbarians that were less affected. All the barbarians that came close to Lu would roll on the ground with their heads in their hands, screaming and howling. Some of the savages held their heads and crashed into the nearby boulders, smashing the boulders into smithereens. How? Hiss, hiss! This lord is so strong. Lord Lu and the others, who were hundreds of miles away, were dumbfounded. Many had thought that they were doomed. Even if Lu could lure away most of the barbarians, only thousands would come to attack them. Unexpectedly, Lu took out a horn and blew it. All the barbarians fell to the ground. What kind of amazing skill was this? If they could use divine energy, Lord Lu and the others believed that they could do it as well. But that was the problem. Everyone was weakened when they came in. What Lu was doing now shocked everyone. Soul skills. Lord Lu exclaimed. He has strong physical defense and strong soul attacks. He is the bane of the barbarians. Average barbarians were not strong in physical attacks, and their souls were weak. Their advantage lay in their numbers and their agility. Lu's defense was strong, and he could use soul attacks to attack in groups, which was the perfect counter to the barbarians. Woo-woo-woo, Lu's horn could be heard faintly, but it didn't affect the others too much. Lu was like a reaper of souls. He moved around and blew the horn, passing by groups of barbarians. Soon, the barbarians died one by one. Their souls collapsed, and they bled out from their eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. The souls of these barbarians were not strong. Under the continuous attacks, their souls collapsed. As more barbarians died, Lord Lu and the others were delighted. If Lu could kill thousands of barbarians by himself, then he could kill tens of thousands of barbarians by himself. As long as they didn't run into powerful barbarians, they would be safe. In other words, their chances of survival would be greatly increased. Whoosh! When Lu killed all the barbarians, Lord Lu and the others came over. Lord Lu ordered, "All of you, destroy the bodies of these barbarians. Do not leave any trace." Okay, they got to work in high spirits. They gathered the bodies in various ways and burned them into ashes. Not even the bones were left. After half an hour, thousands of barbarian corpses had been turned into ashes. The bone bows and bone clubs had also been collected. Let's go. Lu didn't dare to stay here any longer. He left in a hurry with the others. He sensed that no barbarians had escaped, so he was relieved. Even if the barbarian tribe knew someone had killed thousands of them, they wouldn't know who did it. They moved on quickly. Lu also told them not to leave too many traces in case the barbarians could track them down. After half a day, they didn't run into any barbarians, and no barbarians were chasing after them. Everyone was relieved. In the next couple of days, they ran into more barbarian armies. But there were only dozens or hundreds of them. Lu killed them all by himself. None of them escaped. On the fifth day, Lu and the others came to a desert. For the first time, they ran into people here. It was a team of more than 100 people. What made them happy was that there were more than 30 warriors of the fifth tribulation in the team. Wow, it is the first young lady of the Xiong family. A female warrior shouted in surprise. Pointing to a tall and pretty girl in the team, she said, "Isn't she with Lord Xiong? She is still alive. Those must be powerful warriors of the Xiong family." Chapter 25:51. The people on the other side were all astonished when they saw that there was a team here. Because so much time had passed, they thought that other than those who were hiding in the ravines, or those who were using divine inscriptions to conceal themselves, the rest had all died. They didn't expect to run into a team that was swaggering forward. "Old dear, I knew you wouldn't die." Someone in the team knew Lord Lu and shouted from the distance. Lord Lu led the others to greet them with a smile. On his way, Lu heard many people talking about the beautiful but cold lady standing in the middle of the crowd. She was young, about the same age as Lu, but she was at the middle stage of the fifth tribulation realm. She was amazing, as powerful as Lin Fengyun of the Dragon Rebel Abyss. According to the people nearby, this lady was famous even at the Frigid Tide region. She was one of the best young ladies in the Frigid Tide region and a goddess to many young masters. That being said, this lady was cultivating the fundamental principle of ice, which gave her a cold personality. She would be indifferent to everyone, and she was hot-tempered. It was said that she almost killed a young master in the spatial city. Xiang Linglong. The name was nice. But Lu didn't like it when he saw the arrogance in her cold eyes. He had always believed that people were equal. Being born better and having better talent was a gift from heaven. It didn't make you better than others. Lord Lu knew many people, and he was on good terms with several of them. After some small talk, Lord Lu waved to Lu and said, "Come on, guys. Let me introduce a young friend to you. He is an extraordinary man. Also, what is your name?" Lu would not give his real name in this situation. What if someone had heard of him? What if someone was on good terms with the Lin family and the Fan family of the Dragon Rebel Abyss? Lu thought about it and said, "God of Massacre. This name is quite impressive." A strong middle-aged man said with a smile. Lord Lu introduced 5 powerful warriors at the peak of the fifth tribulation to Lu. They were from the Xiong family. They must have been protecting Xiang Linglong, or else she would have been dead. "Old dear, gotta slaughter Lu. This is the favorite junior of my clan's ancestor, the first young lady of my clan, Xiang Linglong. I'm sure you've heard of her, right?" A powerful warrior named Xiang Xiongfei introduced her to Lu and Lord Lu. Lord Lu smiled, cupped his fists, and said, "Lady Linglong is famous in the third heaven. How can I not have heard of you? Now that I've seen you today, you are indeed a dragon among men, a peerless genius." Xiang Linglong casually cupped her hands and didn't say anything. She was extremely cold and arrogant. Lu didn't want to waste time talking to Exquisite. He cupped his fists in front of his chest. Lu's impoliteness aroused the dissatisfaction of several warriors at the middle and later stage of the fifth tribulation behind Xiang Linglong. They glared at Lu. Lu didn't mind. He didn't even want to go with the Xiong family. Although the Xiong family had a lot of experts, it didn't mean much to him. Instead, he was afraid that the Xiong family would snatch his horn. Lord Lu glanced over to Lu and said with a smile, "Lu, how about we go with the lords of the Xiong family? We can take care of each other if we go together." Yes. With the lords of the Xiong family, we can work together and our chances of survival will be greater. That's right. There are many powerful warriors in the Xiong family. Please take us with you." The others chimed in. Lu saw the eagerness in their eyes. He shrugged and said, "I don't mind. You could decide." The powerful warriors of the Xiong family looked at Lu in surprise. Lord Lu was a famous powerful warrior in the nearby waters. He was especially famous for his divination skills in seeking fortune and avoiding misfortune. He had just introduced Lu Li and asked for Lu Li's opinion. Judging from Lu Li's tone, he seemed to be the core of the team. Lord Lu said to Xiang Xiongfei with a smile, "Xiongfei, is it okay for us to go with you?" "Of course. We should go together." Xiang Xiongfei waved his hand and said. Lord Lu didn't have many powerful warriors with him, but Lord Lu was a master of divination. The fact that he could survive until now had piqued everyone's curiosity. Maybe he really could seek fortune and avoid misfortune. They would feel safer with Lord Lu on their side. What was more, so what if they had a group of people with them? In case of danger, this group of people could be used to distract the others so that they could retreat. From a beginning to the end, that Xiang Linglong didn't say anything. She just glanced over to Lu Li and the others, arrogant to the extreme. That being said, this girl had the right to be arrogant. She was as beautiful as Lu Ling, and her status and talents were all top-notch. She was an icy beauty that attracted men's desire to conquer. Many men on Lu Li's side looked at Xiang Linglong with eagerness. Of course, they hid it well. Otherwise, they would suffer if they angered the Xiang family. After a while, they set off together. They chatted on the way. Lu Li followed the team in silence. He said nothing and kept a low profile. Lord Lu asked about Lord Xiang Xiongfei. He learned that the barbarian race sent out 2 clan masters. Lord Xiang Xiongfei stayed behind to protect Xiang Linglong and Xiang Xiongfei. In the end, he was killed by the 2 clan masters. On this point, Xiang Linglong's expression became gloomy. There was a glint of sadness in her eyes. Xiang Xiongfei sensed it. He changed the topic and asked about Lord Lu. Lord Lu told him about Hermit Cold Mountain and that they had been cultivating in that valley for several years. When they learned that Hermit Cold Mountain was dead, they couldn't stay there any longer. They came out one after another, but none of them survived. Lord Lu could tell that Lu Li didn't like the Xiang family, so he didn't say anything. The others didn't have a chance to say anything. Many people tried to strike up a conversation, but the Xiang family didn't respond. Bang, 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 bang. For hours later, the ground in front of them burst open. Teams of barbarians flew out. There were at least 700 or 800 of them. Lu Li had sensed it a long time ago, but he didn't point it out. He wanted to see the strength of the Xiang family. The Xiang family didn't disappoint him. When the first barbarian broke through the ground, Xiang Xiongfei shouted, "Enemy attack!" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More than a dozen powerful warriors of the Xiang family moved forward for more than 300 feet, forming a human wall to protect Xiang Linglong and the others. A white cattail leaf fan appeared in Xiang Linglong's hand. That white cattail leaf fan was emitting a frosty aura. Lu Li took a glance, and his eyes narrowed. This treasure gave him the feeling that it was an imperial weapon. The Xiang family is so rich. Lu Li curled his lips. Sovereign weapons were not as powerful as holy weapons, but they were still precious and powerful. How could they give one to a little girl? That is Lord Xiang Xiongfei's treasure. Lord Lu could tell that Lu Li was confused. He explained in a low voice, "I think Lord Xiang Xiongfei gave it to her before he died. Or maybe he had another sovereign weapon, so he gave it to her. This fan is called the White Jade Fan. It used to be a treasure of a famous emperor. It is very powerful." Oh. Chapter 2552. Xiang Linglong made her move. Lu Li had witnessed the power of a sovereign weapon. The 10 warriors in front of Xiang Linglong were not going to attack her. They were just going to form a wall to protect her. Xiang Xiongfei and the others didn't take any actions. They stayed by Xiang Linglong's side. Xiang Linglong took action. She released her divine power unceasingly, and the frigid air on her palm leaf fan grew thicker and thicker. The terrifying might of a great emperor weapon filled the air, making it hard for the people nearby to breathe. Buzzing, the palm leaf fan quickly flew out and flew into the air. Then it suddenly slapped forward, and a cold current surged out. The hundreds of savages that were rushing over were instantly frozen into ice sculptures. Even the rocks nearby were frozen. The 700 or 800 barbarians attacked for 3 rounds, but they were all stopped by the Xiong family warriors. Lord Lu and the others took actions as well. They stopped many of the bow and arrows. Lu Li didn't do anything because before he could, all the barbarians had been frozen into ice sculptures. Lu Li was speechless. He looked at Xiong Linglong with curiosity, wondering how she was able to use the great emperor weapon. Everyone's divine energy was messed up. They could only use a limited amount of divine energy. They couldn't even use regular treasures, let alone a sovereign weapon. The sovereign weapon couldn't be used to its fullest. Then, how could it be so powerful just by using it casually? Lu Li was taken aback. How powerful would the sovereign weapon be when it was used to its fullest? Whoosh! Several warriors of the Fifth Tribulation rushed out with all kinds of treasures in their hands. They didn't use strong attacks. They just used their physical strength to smash the barbarians to death. From beginning to end, apart from Xiong Linglong and the warriors of the Fifth Tribulation, no one else moved. Lu Li and the others now understood why Xiong Linglong and the others could survive until now. With such a treasure, they could do whatever they wanted as long as they didn't run into the masters of the barbarians. Buzzing, Xiong Linglong put away her fan. She was pale. She sat down on the ground to cultivate and rest. Lu Li and the others were looking at Xiong Linglong in a different light. What this young lady did just now had made her a god in their hearts. Some men were fantasizing about how great it would be if they could conquer a lady like her. If he could press her under his body, that feeling would probably make him explode. Lu Li, on the other hand, didn't feel anything. Maybe it was because he didn't have a good first impression of her. He didn't like her at all, even though she had defeated hundreds of barbarians all by herself. He himself could easily suppress her, so he naturally didn't feel that she was particularly powerful. Thus, he didn't feel any admiration for her. The Five Tribulation experts on the other side quickly killed all the savages and began to destroy the corpses. Each of them had a powerful flame that easily burned the corpses, leaving not even dregs behind. The group continued to advance. Linglong was like an empress, surrounded by a group of people. Her expression was cold, and she didn't care at all about the gazes people were looking at her. She was like a proud swan. The group continued to move forward, heading west. Because they had explored many places in the east, there was no exit, so they could only head west. They did not dare to go to the central region because there were 3 large savage tribes there. The 3 large tribes added up to a few million savage natives. Half a day later, they ran into dozens of barbarians again. This time, Linglong didn't have to do anything. The powerful warriors of the Xiong family killed them easily. Lu Li and the others were all in high spirits. They could enjoy the shade under a big tree. They didn't know if they could find the exit, but they would be safe if they followed a group of powerful warriors. Only by staying alive could they have a chance to escape, right? Woo-woo, another day passed. This time, they ran into a group of more barbarians. There were thousands of them, and they were coming from 2 directions at the same time. Lu, take your people and hold on for a bit. When we finish here, we will go and help. Xiong Xiongfei shouted. Many people of the Xiong family were unhappy that Lu Li and the others did not do anything. Xiong Xiongfei couldn't ask his own people to hold on. He didn't care about the lives of Lu Li and the others. Naturally, he wanted them to hold on for a bit. Okay. Lord Lu didn't hesitate. He turned to Lu Li. He knew that even though there were more than 2,000 barbarians here, Lu Li wouldn't feel any pressure. You guys hold the line for me, Lu Li said casually. Then he flew over like a breeze with a soft sword in his hand. Since Xiong Xiongfei said he would only hold on for a bit, Lu Li wouldn't use the horn. The warriors of the Xiong family were surprised to see Lu Li rushing over alone and the others following him. Was he a powerful warrior in hiding? But he was still young. Xiong Linglong activated her white jade fan. She glanced at it indifferently and was slightly startled. But she didn't have much time to think since the barbarians on the other side were coming. Clank, clank, countless white arrows hit Lu Li, but only made some muffled sounds. Apart from some holes in his robe, there were only some white spots on his skin. He released his powerful chi and blood. He looked like an angry lion. He rushed into the middle of the barbarian army. waving his soft sword. One barbarian after another hugged their heads and rolled on the ground. This surprised the powerful warriors of the Xiong family. They didn't expect that Lu Li had such strong defense, and he was a powerful warrior in soul. Ling Long had already used her white jade fan to attack once and froze nearly 1,000 barbarians at once. She was about to do it again when she heard Xiong family warriors exclaiming in surprise. She glanced over and saw that Lu Li had defeated more than 100 barbarians with ease. She was surprised as well, but soon she put on a mocking smile and continued to attack with her white jade fan. She made 3 attacks, and all the barbarians here were turned into ice sculptures. Her pretty face turned pale again. She was like a young lady who had just recovered from serious illness. More than 10 warriors rushed out to kill the barbarians. Xiang Xiongfei noticed that Ling Long was not in a good mood. He said, "Ling Long, they can hold on. You take a break, and we will go and clean up the barbarians. That god of massacre Lu is quite strong. No, let him come back." Ling Long shook her head and said, "We cannot stay here for long, and we cannot let the barbarians go either. Otherwise, our situation will be exposed. Let me do it. He can't do it." Many warriors on Lu Li's side heard Ling Long's words. A female warrior pouted and murmured, "God of massacre Lu can't do it? He defeated thousands of barbarians with ease." Hearing this, Xiang Ling Long smiled faintly and did not say anything else. Xiang Xiongfei sent someone to tell Lord Lu what Ling Long said, and Lord Lu told Lu Li to come back at once. Chapter 25:53. Lu Li was far away, but he had been activating the trace of the Tao. Therefore, he could vaguely hear Xiang Ling Long's words. He was unhappy. He was not good enough. If so, then he didn't want to do it himself. He would let Xiang Ling Long do it. Lu Li's provocative words upset Xiang Ling Long as well. Over the years, too many men had tried to attract her attention. She thought Lu Li was playing hard to get. If Lu Li really was a young man, then she would accept it. But he was only at the initial stage of the fourth tribulation and knew some soul skills. Xiang Ling Long paid no attention to Lu Li. She began to attack with her white jade fan. At the same time, Xiang Xiongfei and the others worked with Xiang Ling Long. The 10 of them were at the front with Xiang Xiongfei and the others as support. Xiang Ling Long was the main attacker. It took them some time to suppress all the barbarians. Then, more than a dozen warriors of the fifth tribulation rushed out and started killing. After half of the market was gone, the team moved on. When Xiang Ling Long saw Lu Li coming back, she threw him a casual glance. Her eyes were filled with sarcasm. Lu Li was annoyed as well. Was this woman born with a high opinion of herself? Why did she think everyone was inferior to her? Lord Lu noticed that Lu Li was upset. He tried to make small talk to Lu Li, implicitly asking him to be patient. Lu Li was not going to argue with a little girl. He just felt they were living under someone else's charity. It was as if, without the Xiong family, they would be killed right away, which upset him. Lu Li didn't say anything. He just became more arrogant. He didn't talk to anyone and kept a low profile. Xiang Ling Long noticed that Lu Li was upset. She mocked Lu Li even more inwardly. The team moved on, exploring around. They ran into more barbarians. Xiang Xiongfei and the others would deal with the barbarians when there were fewer, and Xiang Ling Long would deal with them when there were more. Lu Li didn't take any action. He had been thinking about something along the way. Was there an exit here? And if there was, where would it be? After a while, he came to a conclusion. There must be an exit, or else there wouldn't have been such a phenomenon. If there was an entrance, then this world must be connected to the outside world. If there was an entrance, then there must be an exit. Then there was only one question left. Where was the exit? This exit should not be in an ordinary place. It would not be in a random cave or a passageway. If it was that obvious, hermit cold mountain, and the others would have found it long ago. Someone would have found it. If it wasn't in an ordinary place, then it must be in a strange place. It was just that along the way, it was either a forest, a wasteland, or a mountain. There was no strange terrain. Just like that, they traveled for a few days and only met small groups of soldiers. They did not meet the barbarian tribe's army. Luli did not let his guard down. Even though they had destroyed all the bodies of the savages along the way, the fact that so many of them had been killed would attract the attention of the barbarians. It was easy for the barbarian race to track them down. Once they were found, the barbarian race's army and experts would quickly come over. Luli's prediction was accurate. For days later, the barbarian race came, not in hundreds or thousands, but overwhelming numbers. Luli could not tell how many there were. It was estimated that there were at least 10,000 of them, and there were quite a number of powerful barbarians, at least 10 of them. Xiong Fei and the others glanced at each other, then said without the slightest hesitation, "Old dear, all of you run. Split up, or none of you will escape." There were too many barbarians this time, and there were powerful ones. Xiong Fei didn't dare to take the risk. He had to break out. Exquisite Xiang could not use the white jade fan to attack continuously, or she would be weakened. She had to break out. She couldn't take Lu Li's people with her. That would be a burden. Therefore, Xiong Fei shouted at Lu Li at once and told Deer to break out from another direction. He actually hoped that Deer could go with them alone. However, it was clear that Deer didn't want to leave them behind. Therefore, they had to go their separate ways. "Let's go." Exquisite Xiang used her white jade fan, and Xiong Fei took out a tripod. Then, they rushed toward the west. Luli didn't go with them. Some wanted to go with them, but judging from Xiong Fei's words, Luli didn't want them to go with them. They couldn't ask for trouble. "If you can trust me, I will put you in my interspatial artifact, and then I will take you out," Luli said to the others instead of taking actions at once. Luli's words didn't gain any response. Putting them in an interspatial artifact was one solution. If Luli could break out, then everyone could survive. The problem was, what if Luli died? They would be trapped to death. Also, when they were in the interspatial artifact, their lives would be in Lu Li's hands. If Luli wanted to kill them, none of them could survive. Therefore, nobody proposed to go into the interspatial artifact of powerful warriors. Warriors that could reach the fourth tribulation were used to having their lives in their own hands. Even if they were to die, they would die knowing the reason. However, under the current circumstances, it would be impossible for them to break out on their own. Lu Li's suggestion made some of them take action. "Okay, thank you, Lord Lu." The several female warriors agreed after a moment of hesitation. Dozens of them made up their minds and agreed. After all, Lu Li had killed thousands of barbarians all by himself. He didn't seem to be a bad person. He wouldn't set them up on purpose. In the end, all the warriors at the fourth tribulation agreed, except for the ones at the fifth tribulation. On the surface, they said they wanted to help Lu Li break out. But as a matter of fact, they were worried that their lives would be in Lu Li's hands. "Then let's go." Lu Li didn't want to waste time. He waved his hand and led the others to the other side. He didn't take out the horn. There were some powerful barbarians here. He didn't want to kill too many here, which would attract their attention. Also, the horn could be used to attack in groups. If he used it, the warriors nearby would be affected as well. Lu Li rushed to the front and released his chi to attract the attention of many barbarians. He fought back the white bow and arrows and rushed into the army of barbarians. Then he released the law of sound. On the other side, Xiong Fei and the others were protecting Xiang Linglong. The warriors at the front were in charge of defense. Xiang Linglong was in charge of offense, and Xiong Fei and the others were assisting. Every time they waved their white jade fan, nearly 1,000 barbarians would be frozen into ice sculptures. Lu Li was the main attacker. The others didn't assist him. They just followed behind him. They didn't have to do anything. They just had to fend off the white bow and arrows. Both sides were moving fast. On one side, many barbarians were frozen, while on the other side, many were rolling on the ground and howling in pain. Both sides had attracted the attention of powerful barbarians. Woo, woo, woo. Chapter 25:54. Powerful barbarians of the barbarian race all had white bone sticks in their hands. They didn't have bows with them because they preferred close combat. Lu Li had been using the trace of Tao. He had noticed the 4 powerful barbarian race warriors coming closer. Not only him, Lord Lu and the others had noticed as well. Stall the barbarians nearby. I will go and deal with these powerful barbarian race warriors. Luli had decided to use the horn. His soft sword wouldn't be enough. He signaled to the others and dashed toward the powerful barbarian race warriors on his own. Lord Lu was getting nervous. If Luli could not stop the powerful barbarian race warriors, then all of them would die. Luli was unstoppable. He cleared a path and approached the powerful barbarian race warriors. On the other side, Lord Lu was on his way. They knew that Lu Li was going to use the horn. If they were too close, they would be implicated as well. Lu Li noticed that Lord Lu and the others were only a few thousand feet away from him. He took out the horn at once and blew it. Woo, woo, woo. As the horn was blown, the average barbarians nearby were affected. A powerful barbarian race warrior had arrived and smashed at Lu Li with his white bone stick. Boom! Lu Li was smashed away. His back was bleeding, but it was not a serious injury. Even though he was smashed away, the horn did not stop. The powerful barbarian race warrior reacted. He seemed to be in pain, but it was not enough for him to hold his head and scream like the other barbarians. The four barbarians made up their minds and rushed toward Lu Li. Lu Li moved quickly by using his footwork. He could feel that billions of soul needles were attacking the souls of the powerful barbarian race warriors. But the souls of the powerful barbarians were strange. They had cultivated soul beads, and their souls had become beads with strong defensive abilities. It was difficult for the soul needles to attack. Since the powerful barbarians were in pain, the soul needles must be useful. It was just that the soul needles were slow. As long as the soul needles continued, the barbarians would not be able to stand it. Lily moved on. The barbarians chased after him, trying to get close to Lu Li to attack. But for one thing, Lu Li was fast. For another, the barbarians were affected by the soul attacks, so their speed was inevitably affected. Gradually, the powerful barbarians could not stand it anymore. They slowed down, and their expressions became more and more painful. One of the barbarians could no longer hold on and fell to the ground. All right, Lord Lu and the rest were energized. As long as the barbarians were suppressed, it would not be difficult for them to break out of the encirclement. The few of them started attacking with all their might, repelling the barbarians nearby. On the other side, Xiang Linglong and the others were about to break out of the encirclement. Xiang Linglong's complexion was extremely unsightly, her face as pale as snow. Those barbarian experts rushed over. Although they weren't frozen, their speed was greatly reduced. They couldn't catch up to them. They were so far away that Lu Li couldn't see what was going on. He could vaguely hear the sound of the horn, but he didn't pay much attention. However, the Xiang family's people were killed. 7 or 8 of them were dead, and more than 20 were heavily injured. There were too many barbarians this time, and casualties were unavoidable. In an hour, Lu Li and Xiang Linglong had broken out of the encirclement. Lu Li brought up the rear, fighting and retreating at the same time. Soon, he got rid of the barbarians. On the other side, it was much easier for Linglong. After controlling her imperial armament to unleash several attacks, she easily froze the savages that were chasing after her. The people on both sides were running frantically towards the west. After running for more than a day, they finally stopped. Since both sides were running in the direction they agreed upon, they eventually met up. Lu Li let everyone out. They were overjoyed and expressed their gratitude to Lu Li. Looking at the Xiang family warriors in the distance, Lu Li told them not to say too much about him and that they had to fight their way out together. They all knew that the Xiang family warriors were unreliable, and Lu Li was the only one who treated them with sincerity. Therefore, they obeyed Lu Li's orders. The Xiang family warriors were surprised to see Lu Li and the others coming. They had thought that none of Lord Lu and Lu Li's people could escape. They didn't expect that they could. After they saw everyone clearly, the shock on their faces became even more intense. None of Lu Li's warriors died? How is that possible? Many of them were at the later stage of the fourth tribulation. Warriors of this level could hardly survive against the barbarians. There were so many barbarians. The Xiang family had lost 7 or 8 warriors of the Fifth Tribulation, including 2 warriors of the Fifth Tribulation. On the other hand, none of Lu Li's warriors died. This surprised the Xiang family warriors. Xiang Linglong also looked a bit curious. She looked over but didn't say anything. Xiang Xiongfei couldn't help but ask for the reason. Since Lu Li had told him before, Lord Lu gave a vague explanation. He said that most of the barbarians were attracted by the Xiang family, and they took advantage of the situation. They worked together to escape. Naturally, Xiang Xiongfei and the others didn't buy this bullshit. They all suspected that Lord Lu had some powerful moves. Lord Lu's calm demeanor made them feel that he was more mysterious. Lord Lu was a famous powerful warrior in this area. He was a mysterious man with the skill of divination. After this experience, Xiang Xiongfei and the others respected Lord Lu even more. Xiang Xiongfei was regretful. He should not have let Lord Lu and the others run away in different directions. Lord Lu must have a grudge against them. They found a valley and decided to take a rest. Many powerful warriors of the Xiang family were injured and needed treatment. Xiang Linglong's strength was depleted as well. On top of that, there were so many barbarians. Those barbarians would not give up. They would track them down. It would be safer for them to find a place to hide. They wandered around and found a small valley. A powerful warrior of the Xiang family went to set up divine patterns at once. The reason why the Xiang family could live for so long was that they could set up divine patterns. Otherwise, they would have been killed by the barbarians. Lu Li sat down with his legs crossed after he went in. He frowned when he saw the Xiang family warrior setting up divine patterns. He wondered if the divine patterns were strong enough. Of course, Lu Li would not take the initiative to set up the divine patterns. He observed quietly. When the Xiang family warrior was done, Lu Li asked Blood Fairy to check. Not too strong. I think we can avoid the barbarian's detection. Blood Fairy sent a telepathic message to Lin Fan. Master, do you want to make some changes? If you do, I can guarantee that the barbarians won't be able to detect it. It will be much stronger than these 2 divine patterns. Do it. Keep a low profile. Don't let others see you. Lu Li asked Blood Fairy to do it. There were so many barbarians nearby. They need to lie low. On the off chance that they were discovered, the leader of the barbarians would come. By then, none of them would be able to escape. Done. An hour later, Blood Fairy told Lu Li that the divine patterns were finished. Right at that moment, the powerful warrior of the Xiang family suddenly opened his eyes. He was surprised. Then, he said angrily, "What is going on? The divine pattern I set up has been altered. I cannot control it." Everyone was taken aback. Lord Lu looked at Lu Li, deep in thought. Lu Li knew he could not keep this a secret. He opened his eyes and said, "Don't make a fuss. I am the one who altered the divine pattern. Don't worry. I can control it." Nonsense. The powerful warrior of the Xiang family flew into a rage. "Kid, what do you know? There are barbarians everywhere out there. How dare you alter the divine pattern that I went through so much trouble? Are you courting death?" Lu Li rolled his eyes speechlessly and said, "You could try to crack the divine glyphs. If you can, I will be a slave to the Xiang family. If you cannot, you will kowtow to me. How about that?" Chapter 2555. Lu Li had had enough of the Xiang family. This time, he was not going to put up with it. Blood Fairy said that the current divine patterns were much stronger. Lu Li was confident that this warrior of the Xiang family could not crack it. Blood Fairy had been studying ancient divine patterns. Her divine patterns were mixed with ancient divine patterns. Lu Li believed that this warrior of the Xiang family would not be able to crack it given his understanding of divine patterns. This warrior of the Xiang family was at the later stage of the Fifth Tribulation. His name was Xiang Huanluan. When he heard Lu Li's words, his first reaction was not anger, but killing intent. He was a patriarch of the Xiang family. The Xiang family was one of the 4 major forces in the Frigid Sea. He did not think highly of warriors at the peak of the Fifth Tribulation, let alone warriors of the Fourth Tribulation. In the Frigid Sea, no one dared to talk to him like this. Not even patriarchs of the Spatial City dared to talk to him like this. Therefore, his first thought was to kill this man. How dare he ask him to kneel? Who in the world dared to humiliate the Xiong family like this? In addition to Xiong Huanluan, the other warriors of the Xiong family were also filled with killing intent. Lu Li was too arrogant. This was a challenge to the dignity of the Xiong family. Lu Li didn't mind the murderous looks they were giving him. He smiled and said, "Don't you think your divine runes are powerful? Why don't you go and have a try?" Provocation. Lu Li was openly provoking them. His words were arrogant, as if he was looking down on all the heroes in the world. Good, good, good. Xiong Huanluan laughed out of anger. "If I can crack it, you will be my slave, right? You're the one who said it." Everyone heard it. "Old dear, you heard it too." Lord Lu frowned. He threw Lu Li a look. Seeing that Lu Li was calm, Lord Lu did not say much. The others on Lu Li's side were worried. Whether Lu Li won or lost, his relationship with the Xiong family would be strained. What should they do then? Many people hoped to follow the powerful warriors of the Xiong family. After all, there were too many warriors of the Fifth Tribulation. Xiong Linglong had a sovereign weapon. It would be safer to follow the Xiong family. "Okay, if you don't mind, then I will crack it." Xiong Huanluan sneered, glanced at Lu Li, and said, "Punk, you will be my slave." Lu Li shrugged. He did not think it was a big deal. He had already sent a message to Blood Fairy, and she confirmed it. If he was alone, he would not be able to break Blood Fairy's divine glyph. Lu Li walked to a corner and sat down with his legs crossed to rest. He had been scratched on his back. Although the injury had mostly healed, he would be able to return his peak after some rest. At that time, even if the Xiong family's people flew into a rage out of humiliation, he would still be able to put up a fight. Oomph. Mammoth Huanluan walked to the edge of the formation and took out some formation stones. He refused to believe that the divine inscriptions he had set up wouldn't be able to break through. He should be able to break it easily with just a few random array patterns. As he got busy, the others also followed suit. Most of the people here had some understanding of divine inscriptions. Even though he didn't know how the elephant chaos wheel was set up, he could still see some problems. Time moved on. An hour later, the elephant chaos wheel had not stopped. Instead, he looked more and more awful. The Xiong family's people were worried as well. In front of so many outsiders, this was not just a disgrace to Xiong Huanluan, but to the entire Xiong family. Xiong Linglong rested for an hour and felt slightly better. She had heard everything that had happened just now and understood everything clearly. She looked at the elephant chaos wheel and then at Lu Li, who was sitting in the corner. Was he a young man or an old warrior who was good at disguise? Divine inscriptions weren't something that could be casually comprehended for a few years. It required a long period of time, and without tens of thousands of years, it would be extremely hard to have any great accomplishments. Everyone stared at the elephant chaos wheel. Lord Lu gave Lu Li a more meaningful look. Lu Li did not even see Lu Li do anything. Lu Li had quietly changed the divine inscriptions. Just like how he solved Hermit Coal Mountain's divine inscriptions, Lu Li solved it easily. An hour later, Elephant Chaos Wheel's forehead was drenched in sweat. He stopped working. He closed his eyes and began to think. He was under a lot of pressure. He knew that everyone was paying attention to him. But after working for 2 hours, he still couldn't find a solution. The modified formation was extremely powerful, and there were even many aspects that were unimaginable. He had thought he could destroy the formation if he could crack the foundation. He was the one who built the foundation, and it was not moved. The problem was he could not crack the foundation. It was protected by the runes inside. To crack the foundation, he must crack the runes first. To crack the runes, he would have to crack the entire formation. The runes here were changed. They were complicated. He couldn't even understand them. The divine inscriptions he built were changed without him knowing. Now, he didn't even have a chance to crack it. He couldn't even recognize the divine inscriptions. Had Lu Li become a master in the study of divine inscriptions? Could it be that Lu Li was a hermit and everything he saw was an illusion? Otherwise, how could a fourth tribulation warrior dare to offend him like this? Lu Li had offended all the powerful warriors of the Xiong family. Time moved on. Elephant Chaos Wheel was getting more and more anxious. It was a vicious cycle. He was getting more and more agitated. He felt like he was riding a donkey. Another hour had passed. Xiang Xiongfei and the others were grimacing. Xiang Hunlun clenched his teeth and was about to throw in the towel when Lu Li suddenly stood up and said with a smile, "Lord Hunlun, I was just joking with you. It's fine if I can't see through this formation. There's so many barbarians out there. If you really crack it, we will all be exposed. How about we call a draw?" A draw? Everyone was stunned. How is this a draw? Elephant Chaos Wheel could not crack it. What was Lu Li doing? He had been so aggressive, and now he was giving up? Ha ha ha. Lord Lu looked at Lu Li with appreciation. Lu Li had won back his pride. He had given the Xiang family a way out. Now, the Xiang family would not underestimate him and offend him. At the same time, he wouldn't offend the Xiang family to death. Ha ha ha. Xiang Xiongfei laughed. He waved his hand and said, "What is it again? No discord, no concord. My friend, Chaos Wheel, come over here. Let's have a drink and let bygones be bygones." Elephant Chaos Wheel's face turned pale, but he was an old man. He knew he had been given a way out. If he didn't take advantage of the situation, he would be an idiot. Of course, everyone here knew that. He couldn't bring himself to do that. He just nodded indifferently. Zhang Xiong Fei waved his hand, and some of his subordinates began to set up a fire. Some roasted meat was brought out, along with some fine wine and spirit grains. A few square tables were set up, and a banquet was about to begin. The several female cultivators hurried over to help. They had been under pressure for a long time. They could die at any time. Now that they had such a rare opportunity, many people wanted to drink and relax. Chapter 2556. Everyone could feel Ling Long's arrogance. She had never spoken to anyone before, and from this, one could see her personality. That being said, it was not surprising that she was arrogant. After all, she had the right to be so. She had a sovereign weapon that could suppress the barbarians, which was something that others could not do. Now, this proud princess of the Xiang family was walking toward Lu Li. Many people were jealous and curious at the same time. They wondered what Exquisite would say to Lu Li. Lu Li was not affected by Exquisite's approach. No matter how beautiful a woman was, she was no different from a skeleton if he was not interested in her. He frowned. He could tell that Exquisite was not here with good intentions. Exquisite walked to a dozen feet in front of Lu Li and looked at him. Even though they were at eye level, Lu Li still felt that she was looking down from above, as if she was nobler than anyone else. Her soul began to tremble as she sent out soul energy. Then, Lu Li heard a voice in his mind. Psychic power could not be used here. Only soul energy could be used to send messages. Death God Lu, you weren't the one who altered these divine inscriptions, right? His voice was cold and filled with doubt. The people nearby were slightly disappointed when they sensed the soul power. Since the two were talking, the others could not hear what they were talking about. Lu Li was intrigued. Could Exquisite know where a blood fairy was? Psychic power could not be used here. Then, it should be Blood Fairy who could not see underground. After a moment of silence, Lu Li sent out soul energy and asked, "Lady Exquisite, what are you trying to say?" Lu Li didn't have a good impression of Exquisite Xiang. Therefore, he wasn't too polite to her, nor did he answer her question directly. She was the chosen one, a goddess to many. That being said, it did not mean that everyone should follow her around and fawn over her. Xiang Linglong pulled a long face. She thought about it and said, "What I'm trying to say is that you have an unfair advantage. You did not change the pattern. It is that charming who did it. It has nothing to do with you." Lu Li smiled. Indeed, Exquisite could sense Blood Fairy's presence. He said, "Lady Exquisite, I am the spirit. That is my ability. Just like how you have an imperial weapon, without it, it would be very difficult for you to suppress the barbarians, right? As for me, I can easily suppress them." "Oh," Xiang Linglong sneered coldly and disapprovingly transmitted her voice. "How many barbarians can you suppress? Even without the Emperor weapon, I can still surpass you." "Really?" Lu Li sneered. He looked at the injured warriors and said, "I think someone from the Xiang family has died, and someone else is injured. I won't hide it from you. Our people were able to escape unscathed because of me. If you don't believe me, you can ask Old Deer. Didn't you say that I can't do it? Luli had slapped her hard. Exquisite's face turned green. She squinted her pretty eyes. Anyone familiar with her would know that this was the prelude to her attack. Xiang Xiongfei had been paying attention to what was happening, and his heart tightened when he saw Exquisite Long's reaction. Even though he didn't know what she and Luli talked about, it seemed that Luli was the one who made her angry. If they were to fight, it would be troublesome. This was because Luli was giving off an unfathomable feeling. What if Luli was an old monster? Would he bring them trouble when a fight broke out? It wouldn't matter if they were outside. But here, they could die at any moment. What was the point of fighting? Exquisite. Xiang Xiongfei said, "It's ready. Come and sit down. Let's have a drink." Exquisite Long didn't move. She stared at Luli. After a while, she took a deep breath and left. She didn't sit down. Instead, she took out her interspatial artifact and went in. Xiang Xiongfei was embarrassed, but he didn't dare to say anything to her. Everyone knew that this lady had a bad temper. The group of people gathered together and began to eat, drink, and relax. After the female cultivators danced a few times, the atmosphere became intense. The Xiang family warriors also humbled themselves. Someone even proposed a toast to Luli. Xiang Xiongfei had hinted that he couldn't see through Luli. Lord Lu was a famous, powerful warrior, and yet he was so respectful to Luli. Xiang Xiongfei wondered if Luli was a lord. Was he pretending to be at the initial stage of the fourth tribulation? Was he faking his youthful energy? Luli had always been like this. When the Xiang family took the initiative to make peace, Luli's attitude was much better. He would not turn down anyone who offered him a toast. After drinking for a few hours, everyone returned satisfied. 2 experts from Xiang family even hooked up with those female cultivators. This place was so boring and precarious, so they might as well enjoy themselves while they could. Public restroom. Luli rolled his eyes when he saw the 2 female cultivators going into the interspatial artifact with the 2 powerful warriors of the Xiang family. Aren't these female cultivators a little too unlucky? Anyone could have sex with them. They decided to stay here for 2 months and wait for the storm to blow over. Luli found a corner to cultivate. He didn't care about anything else. After all, Blood Fairy was there to keep an eye on him. The others gathered in groups of 2s and 3s. They were either chatting, discussing martial arts, or talking about the world. While consuming the pellets, Luli continued to study the traces of the Great Path. Maybe it was because of the quarrel with Xiang Linglong, but he was less angry. He could cultivate with ease. Time flew by. Soon, a month had passed. This sacred pattern dojo was strong. They didn't encounter any barbarians. It was safe. Xiang Linglong never came out. The Xiang family did not make any trouble. Apart from the female cultivators hooking up with some powerful warriors of the Xiang family, nothing serious happened. Soon, another month passed. They thought it was time. Lord Lu woke Luli up, and Xiang Xiongfei asked Xiang Linglong to come out as well. "Don't worry. Let me take a look." Luli waved his hand. He told Blood Fairy to check nearby. Since Blood Fairy had a virtual body, she could come and go without a trace. It was easy for Luli to find her. After a while, Blood Fairy replied, "It's safe. Master, everything is fine." When Blood Fairy came back, Luli waved his hand. "Let's go. There are no barbarians nearby." At that moment, Blood Fairy released the divine seal. The divine seal glowed. They could see clearly now. Someone from the Xiang family rushed out. After a while, they confirmed that there were no barbarians around. They hurried on. Luli asked Blood Fairy to stay nearby. In this way, if any barbarians were to come near, they would be able to sense them at once. For hours later, Blood Fairy found a group of barbarians underground. She sent a message back in time. Luli led the team in another direction at once. This group of barbarians could be killed easily, and their bodies could be destroyed. That being said, dead barbarians would leave traces. Therefore, Luli believed it was best to avoid fighting them. Blood Fairy led the way while Luli led the team in circles. The Xiang family warriors were skeptical. Some of them murmured, Chapter 2557. Everyone was taken aback by Exquisite's words. She had always been a woman of few words. Now she had spoken, and she agreed with Luli. This didn't seem like Exquisite's personality. Seeing that everyone was looking at her, Exquisite did not say anything. She didn't even offer an explanation. Luli did not explain either. He led the team on. They had been moving forward for 2 hours. They didn't run into any barbarians, which surprised them. Did Luli have the ability to foresee the future? Since none of them could use their divine will, they naturally could not detect Blood Fairy, who was underground. They were all very surprised. 10 hours later, they still didn't run into any barbarians, but they were going left and right. Every now and then, they would have to take a detour. Everyone was confused, and they didn't know which direction they were heading in. They were convinced of Lu Li's abilities. Xiang Xiongfei and the others were even more suspicious that Lu Li might be a lord. The more they looked at Lu Li, the more enigmatic he seemed. 1 day, 2 days. With Lu Li leading the way, they moved on in peace for 2 days. They had traveled for millions of miles without running into a single barbarian. Many saw hope. Maybe they could go on like this by following Lu Li. Maybe they could find an exit. Master, there is a strange place up ahead. Another half a day later, Blood Fairy suddenly said, which cheered Lu Li up. They had speculated that the exit might be in a strange place. After such a long time, they had finally found it. Lu Li asked at once, "What is so strange about it?" "The abyss." Blood Fairy explained, "There's an abyss with white flames at the bottom, frost in the middle, and whirlwinds at the top. But there are barbarians guarding nearby. There should be thousands of them." White flames, frost, whirlwinds? Lu Li was surprised. White flames and frost could coexist. Fire was baking down below, and frost was forming above, and there was whirlwinds at the top. He had never heard of such a strange place. Is the exit in the abyss? Lu Li's eyes flickered. If they were to explore the abyss, they must kill the thousands of barbarians. Once they were killed, their tracks would be exposed. "What is it, Lu?" Lord Lu came over and asked. Xiang Xiongfei and the others looked over as well. Lu Li explained, "There's a very interesting place nearby. Do you guys want to go check it out?" Lu Li explained the situation. Everyone's eyes glowed. Was the exit in this strange place? "Go check it out and kill those few thousand barbarians." Xiang Linglong spoke again. Her voice was soft, but no one dared to question her words. Xiang Xiongfei and the others settled down, leaving the fourth tribulation cultivator alone. The warriors of the fifth tribulation surrounded Lu Li and Xiang Linglong and walked into the abyss. After advancing for several hundred li, before they even got close to the abyss, the ground burst open layer by layer, and groups of barbarians madly rushed out. 10 experts of the Xiang family immediately went to the front to block the attack, waiting for Xiang Linglong to launch the main attack. Xiang Linglong didn't do anything. Instead, she crossed her arms and looked at Lu Li. Clearly, she was waiting for Lu Li to make a move. "Aren't you very capable? Didn't you say you were stronger than me? Then why don't you go and do it? Only women and villains are hard to raise." Lu Li shook his head. He rushed out and took out his horn. Since the Xiang family were afraid of him, he was not afraid that the Xiang family would take the horn away. The more powerful he demonstrated, the more polite the Xiang family would be to him. Woo, 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 the horn was blown. Many barbarians fell to the ground. Lu Li moved like a gust of wind. The barbarians nearby fell one by one, like the autumn wind blowing over a paddy field. Impressive. It was the first time for the Xiang family warriors to see Lu Li use the horn. They were not far away, but they could feel the pain in their souls. Thousands of barbarians died after Lu Li circled around them for 3 times. Their deaths were tragic. Their faces were ferocious. Their eyes were white, and veins were popping out on their faces. Even Xiang Linglong felt disgusted. "Brother 9, deal with the bodies." Xiang Xiongfei waved his hand. Several warriors of the fifth tribulation rushed over. Soon, they piled up the bodies and burned them with special flames. Blood Fairy had been checking nearby to make sure that none of the barbarians had escaped. "Let's go. Lu, let's go take a look." Xiang Xiongfei said to Lord Lu and Lu Li with a smile. They walked toward the abyss. Before they got close, they could feel the strong wind coming from the abyss. The wind was so strong that it cut their faces like knives. They were all powerful warriors, and yet they were hurt by the wind. How strong was the wind here? They could stand it. They moved forward slowly and stood by the edge of the abyss. The wind was even stronger. Everyone's robes were fluttering in the wind. Xiang Linglong's underwear was exposed, but it was long and not transparent, so it was not a big deal. Lu Li threw a glance over. He put on a mocking smile. Xiang Linglong was burning with anger. She was on the verge of losing her temper. Before Xiang Linglong could lose her temper, Lu Li looked away. Gazing into the abyss, he asked, "What should we do? How many should we go down?" Xiang Xiongfei thought about it and said, "Let's get some warriors of the fourth tribulation to test the waters." Who could tell if it was dangerous down there? This place was strange. They were all powerful warriors, and they did not want to risk their lives. Therefore, they decided to send some weak warriors down to explore the way. If there was danger down there, they could be prepared. Someone went to get the warriors of the fourth tribulation and arranged for 5 warriors to go down as well. All of them were on Lu Li's side. Those warriors did not say anything. They had been under the protection of the powerful warriors along the way. If they disobeyed orders when they were needed, they would not be brought along in the future. The 5 checked for a while and then flew down together. The wind was horrifying, but the 5 were at the peak of the fourth tribulation. They could stand it. Lu Li told Blood Fairy to check along the way and report back in time. The 5 were slow as well. They dared not to go too fast. They kept an eye on their surroundings. Soon, the 5 arrived at the area of frost. As soon as they touched the frost, something happened. They were all frozen into ice sculptures. None of them could move. The 5 of them did not fall into the water. Instead, they became ice sculptures that floated in the air. The 5 of them did not die, but they could not move at all. Blood Fairy reported the situation to Lu Li, who explained. Everyone turned to Xiang Linglong because she was cultivating the fundamental principle of frost. "Why are you looking at me?" Xiang Linglong curled her lips and said, "Isn't Death God Lu that powerful? Tell him to go down." Lu Li rolled his eyes. This lady was really unreasonable. He didn't say anything and let Zhang Xiong deal with it. Seeing that Lu Li did not move, Xiang Xiongfei turned to Xiang Linglong and said, "I will go down. Let's go together." "Lu Li, are you afraid?" Xiang Linglong threw Lu Li a provocative look. Lu Li pouted and said, Fine. Let's go together. We will all go together. If we're going to die, we will die together. Who wants to die with you?" Xiang Linglong glared at Lu Li coldly and said, "Don't flatter yourself." Lu Li was speechless. He shrugged and said, "Fine, I am flattering myself. I am a toad lusting after turkey. Okay. Chapter 2558. Somehow, Lu Li felt pleased to see that Exquisite Long was about to burst into flames. It was as if angering this young lady could lighten his mood. Lu Li. Just then, Lord Lu suddenly released a strand of his soul power and transmitted a message over. "I think you should get along with Miss Linglong. I have a feeling that the 2 of you are the same kind of people." Get along? The same kind of people? Lu Li was surprised. He blinked, looked at Exquisite Xiang, and then to Lord Lu and asked, "Lord Lu, why do you say so? How can I be the same kind of person as him?" "You have misunderstood me." Lord Lu explained. "Didn't I think you have a rare treasure body? I feel that Miss Linglong has a treasure body just like you. But it's a little different. They should both be rare treasures." "What?" Lu Li was surprised. It was normal for Exquisite Long to have a body of treasure, but he found it hard to believe that she had a body like him. What was more, Lu Li didn't think he had a body of treasure. But Lord Lu made it sound so real. Even Lu Li himself was confused. There must be something special about a body of treasure. There was nothing special about Lu Li. The only thing was that he hadn't had any offspring yet. The precious bodies were all very powerful, and all of them had strange divine abilities. This was just like the 10 great ancient god clans. Every clan had strange and powerful divine abilities. What's so special about me? Luli asked himself. Many thoughts flashed through his mind. Soon he had an idea. There seemed to be something special about him, which was there were traces of Tao in his body. He didn't know if others could carve marks of the Great Path. These marks of the Great Path were very mysterious, but he could carve them into his body. This was what made him different from others. Can it be that I really have a rare body of treasure? Is exquisite Long the same as me? Is she some kind of rare body? Are we like repelling each other? Luli couldn't figure it out. He didn't know if Lord Lu's divination skill was accurate, but he didn't have the time to ask. Let's go. Exquisite Long shouted. They flew down slowly. Luli glided down without hesitation. Everyone's divine power was in a mess, but they could still circulate a little divine power. As long as they could circulate a little, they would be able to fly. Soon, everyone descended from the Tempest Zone. Everyone slowed down and flew toward the Frost Zone. While flying, Xiang Xiongfei said, Ling Long, wait here. I'll go down and try. If I get frozen, you can come and save me. Xiang Xiongfei increased his speed. As soon as he came into contact with the frost, his entire body was covered in frost at a speed visible to the naked eye. Gotcha! Of course, Xiang Xiongfei was strong. He twisted his body, shattering the ice around him as he flew up into the air. Very powerful. He sighed and said, the frost over there is much stronger than the cold waves in the cold wave sea region, and it can even freeze souls. I reacted quickly just now. Otherwise, if my soul had been frozen, I wouldn't have been able to move at all. The group of people frowned. If it was anyone else, if their soul was frozen, no one would be able to move. Luli thought about it and said, I will try. Whoosh. Luli flew down slowly. As soon as he came into contact with the frost, he felt a surge of cold air enveloping him as well. His body was frozen and his blood couldn't circulate. At that moment, his soul entered the cold air as well. Ice began to form outside his body as well. White frost appeared. He was about to be frozen. Crack, crack, crack. Energy surged out from the 720 acupoints in Luli's body. He moved his body and the ice around him cracked. He flew up. Impressive, Luli exclaimed. Xiang Linglong sneered at once and said, I thought you were good. Why not? Luli wasn't angry. He said calmly, you are good. Go ahead. I will wait and see. Xiang Linglong snorted and flew down. When she entered the frost zone, she stopped. A white jade fan appeared in her hand. After she used it, a ray of white light enveloped her. She quickly entered the frost zone. The cold air spread over, but was blocked by the white light of the white jade fan. It's okay. Everyone was overjoyed to see that Xiang Linglong could stay in the frost zone at ease. The sovereign weapon was impressive. It could stand the frost. That being said, it must have something to do with the fundamental principle of ice that Xiang Linglong was cultivating. Xiang Linglong circled around and brought the warriors at the peak of the fourth tribulation up one by one. Lord Lu put them into his interspatial ring. Xiang Linglong looked at Luli provocatively and said, what do you think? I told you couldn't do it. Luli didn't argue back. He just looked at the white jade fan in Xiang Linglong's hand. His meaning couldn't be clearer. He meant that if Xiang Linglong didn't have a sovereign weapon, how could she stand the frost? Xiang Linglong's expressions changed again. She didn't know why she was so easily angered. All in all, she would be annoyed whenever she saw Luli. She was sure that Luli was about the same age as her. The younger they were, the angrier she would be. It was as if Luli was her natural enemy. Okay, Linglong, Xiang Xiongfei said, bring everyone down one by one. Let's see if there's an exit down there. Sure. Xiang Linglong glanced at Luli and said, I will not bring him down. If he wants to go down there, he can do it himself. Ha ha ha. Luli laughed and said, okay, you can go now. I will wait here and look forward to hearing good news from you. Linglong. Xiang Xiongfei glared at Xiang Linglong reproachfully, but the latter ignored him and turned her head to the side. Xiang Xiongfei and the other side. Xiang Linglong's temper was well known in the Xiang family. Apart from the forefather, family patriarch, and great patriarch, no one else could keep her in check. Xiang Linglong took out her interspatial artifact and put all the Xiang family warriors in. She looked at Lord Lu and asked, "Are you going in or not? Are you afraid that I will put you in harm's way?" Lord Lu looked at Lu Li and said with a smile, "Okay, I will go down with Lady Linglong. Lu, wait here." Lord Lu was put into Xiang Linglong's interspatial artifact. Xiang Linglong threw Lu Li a look of disdain and then rushed down with her white jade fan. Lu Li didn't mind. He flew up by himself and sat down at the edge of the abyss. He was happy to have someone explore for him. If there really was an exit down there, he could still reach the bottom. He would not lower his head to Xiang Linglong. The fourth tribulation realm warriors were here. They gathered around the abyss, pointing at it and discussing in a low voice. Seeing that Lu Li had come up, they wanted to go over and ask him. But the wind was so strong that they didn't dare to come over. Xiang Linglong and the others were not here. They didn't think there was any result yet. Lu Li waited quietly. An hour later, Xiang Linglong finally came up. As soon as she came up, she let everyone out. Lord Lu said to Lu Li at once, "The fire down there is too strong. We cannot get close or explore." "Lu, are you afraid of fire?" "Fire?" Chapter 25:59. The flames down there were so horrifying that they could not go down. Not even Xiang Linglong dared to go in with the help of her imperial weapon. Therefore, everyone went down, but in the end, they did not find anything and could only return helplessly. Lu Li had been using thunderbolts and flames to refine his body for years. He had developed a strong resistance to thunderbolts and flames. He could even absorb thunderbolts. As for flames, he once cultivated on the blazing island for many years, and he consumed some top-level pellets. His resistance to flames was strong. Seeing that people were staring at him, Lu Li smiled and said, "Fire depends on what kind of fire it is. I'm not afraid of regular fire, but I cannot go through the area of frost, and I cannot go down." Lu Li's tone was calm, but it was clear that he was being sarcastic. Xiang Linglong glared at Lu Li, but said nothing. Xiang Xiongfei and Lord Lu felt a bit awkward. The two of them seemed to be enemies. Xiang Xiongfei forced a smile and said, "Linglong, we're in the same boat. We should help each other out. Don't take these small matters to heart." Lord Lu also said, "Young friend Lu, okay." Lu Li smiled and waved his hand. "As long as Lady Linglong can take me down there, I'll try my best to explore the area of fire. If the exit is in there, I promise I can take you all out." Xiang Linglong snorted. She flew over and reached out her hand. There was a pair of gloves on her hand. She carried Lu Li down with one hand. Lu Li didn't say anything or resist. Xiang Xiongfei was right. They were all in the same boat, and there was no point in bickering with each other. Working together was the right way to go. Xiang Linglong grabbed Lu Li's shoulder. Even though there was some distance between them, Lu Li could smell her fragrance. It was a pleasant smell. Out of instinct, Lu Li looked to his side and saw Xiang Linglong's fair face. Her cold eyes made people feel that she was a fairy from the nine heavens. She was breathtakingly beautiful. "What are you looking at?" Xiang Linglong turned to Lu Li and snorted, "None of you are a good man. I advise you to give up on your wishful thinking." Ha ha ha. Lu Li laughed and said, "It is normal for a gentleman to woo a fair lady. Besides, if your father hadn't taken a fancy to you, would your mother have you? Also, I don't have any wishful thinking towards you. To be honest, I've seen women who are more outstanding than you. I really don't fancy someone like you." Exquisite Elephant was enraged. She was going to throw Lu Li into the area of frost. Lu Li raised his hand helplessly and said, Okay, let's not talk about this. Let's get down to business. Don't make a fuss. Otherwise, we will get in the way." Lu Li's concession eased Xiang Linglong's mood a bit. She suppressed down her anger and used her emperor weapon to protect herself and Lu Li. The imperial weapon was strong enough to fend off the frost. Exquisite Elephant led Lu Li through the area of frost. Lu Li didn't even feel the coldness. As soon as they passed through the frost area, Lu Li felt the heat. He looked down and saw a sea of fire. It was a white flame, and the flame was very high. At a glance, nothing could be seen other than the flame. The flame was at least thousands of feet high. Because of the dark color of the flame, Luli had to go through the area of fire to see what was down there. I have brought you down. Now it is up to you. Standing in midair, Xiang Linglong looked at Luli coldly and said with sarcasm, "Don't tell me that you don't have the courage to go in. All right, don't try to goad me into action." Luli waved his hand. He closed his eyes and used the trace of Tao to sense. His mark of the Great Path was very powerful. Under normal circumstances, he could clearly sense the situation at the bottom. What happened next shocked him. When he tried to sense the flame down there, it was all blur and haze. He could not sense anything. This is strange. He stared at the flame, trying to figure out what was different about it. He looked to the left and to the right, but found nothing. Whoosh! He flew down slowly. When he was at the edge of the flame, he felt the heat. Even he could not stand it. His robes were immediately burned to ashes, revealing only a pair of leather pants. His well-built muscles were exposed to the air. Even though Lu Li had cultivated a supreme divine body, he was not a muscular man. Instead, his muscles were well-defined, which gave him a masculine beauty. PFF. Xiang Linglong glanced at him, blew a mouthful of air, and turned her head to the other side. But she was still trying to sense the situation down there to see if Luli could go down. Luli released the heaven armor, which increased his defense ability. That being said, he could still feel his skin was being burned when he got closer to the flame. He had to use the dragon wrestling skill. This time, he could stand the flame. The flame could not burn him to death. Luli put his mind at ease and continued to fly down. He could not see anything in the flame. He had to use the trace of Tao to sense it carefully. This flame is different from the usual ones. Luli sensed something he could not quite put into words. The flame was not like regular flames. It was as if there was some kind of energy in the flame. He sensed nothing after a while. He had to keep going. The more he flew, the more he felt something was wrong. He had thought the flame was only thousands of feet high. He had flown for 2 miles and still hadn't reached the bottom. It was as if the flame was endless. Luli kept on flying down. Xiang Linglong could no longer sense Lu Li's presence. She was surprised as well. How deep was it down there? Was the exit really here? After the time for half an incense stick to burn, Xiang Linglong still didn't hear anything from Lu Li. She was getting anxious. Lu Li didn't want to die in there. If that happened, who would be able to withstand the flames? Whoosh! After the time for half an incense stick to burn, the flame trembled and a man flew out. Xiang Linglong opened her eyes wide at once. She was relieved to see it was Lu Li. But then she looked away because Lu Li was naked. Lu Li took out a robe and put it on. Xiang Linglong turned around and asked, "What is it?" "It is complicated." Lu Li exclaimed and explained, "There's a blood pond more than 30 miles underground. I have a strong sense of danger in the blood pond, so I don't dare to go down." "Blood pond?" Xiang Linglong's pupils contracted. She asked back, "Are you sure? Is the blood pond really dangerous? Don't tell me you can't stand the flame and you're talking nonsense to me?" "What nonsense are you talking about?" Lu Li was angry. He stared at her and said, "There is no flame above the blood pond and the temperature is not high. If you don't believe me, I can take you down and have a look. If you can, go down and have a look. Do you have the guts?" "Okay, I will," Xiang Linglong said, not to be outdone. Lu Li took out the separation bead at once, trying to put Xiang Linglong in. Xiang Linglong resisted subconsciously. Lu Li looked at her and said, "What? Are you scared?" Buzzing, Xiang Linglong gave up and was put into the separation bead. Lu Li released his dragon wrestling skill and heaven armor skill and rushed into the flames. He was fast. In the time for a few breaths, he had passed through the area of flames and stood on top of a blood pond. He took out the separation bead and let Xiang Linglong out. Pointing down, he said, "See that? If you can go down and have a look." As soon as Xiang Linglong came out, she looked around. Seeing that Lu Li's robe was burnt again, she sighed, turned her head to the side, and said, "Pervert, can you not be naked? You are disgusting." Chapter 2560. Luli put on his robe at once and said with a grin, "You will get married eventually, and you will have to look a man's body. If you feel disgusted now, how can you get married in the future? None of your business." Xiang Linglong glared at him and said, "Anyways, your body is disgusting. You are disgusting as a person." Ha ha ha. Luli laughed out loud without any anger. He said, "So we really are enemies. When I first saw you, I also felt we were not on the same wavelength. I don't like you no matter how I look at you." Eh? Xiang Linglong was not angry. Instead, she said with surprise, "You have this feeling as well? Normally, I don't dislike people, but you are an exception. I hate you from the bottom of my heart." This time, it was Lu Li's turn to be shocked. Could it be that Lord Lu was right? Both of them had the same type of rare, treasured body. They repelled each other. After some thoughts, Lu Li couldn't help but ask, "Lady Linglong, you know that Lord Lu can do divination, right? He told me that you and I are of the same kind, and that is why we will repel each other. Do you have the same kind of body?" Xiang Linglong's pupils contracted. She blurted out, "Do you have the 7 trials body of evil spirit as well?" "What 7 trials body of evil spirit?" Lu Li asked, confused. "I don't know. I have never heard of it. What is 7 trials body of evil spirit?" This was the first time Lu Li had heard of it. Xiang Linglong stared at Lu Li. After making sure that he was not lying, she said, "I don't know the details. A forefather of my family told me that I might be one of the 7 trials body of evil spirit. Usually, there will not be one person with this kind of body, but 7 at the same time. The 7 of them will go through hardships. If they can go through all the dangers and rise up, they will become horrifying beings, even beyond the Emperor realm." According to historical records, more than 2 million years ago, there was a 7 trials body of evil spirit. In the end, 5 of the 7 died, and the other 2 reached the Saint Emperor realm. But Lu Li was skeptical. If it weren't for the fact that the 2 of them really hated each other, and Lord Lu's words were so convincing, Lu Li would have thought it was a fairy tale. He pondered for a moment and asked, "How can you determine that it's a 7 tribulation innate evil body? Although I've cultivated a supreme divine body, I don't feel that there's anything special about my body. A rare treasure body should have powerful abilities and divine abilities, right? Or should I say, there's always something special about it? I don't know." The old ancestor didn't say anything. Xiang Linglong shook her head and said, "He only said that only powerful demonic lords would be able to sense it. I don't think there's anything special about me. I just feel that the true meaning of ice is especially smooth and easy to cultivate. A powerful lord." Lu Li frowned. Anya was a powerful lord, an emperor-to-be. Could Tian Yazi have sensed it? Was that why he treated her so well? Unfortunately, he didn't have a chance to ask Tian Yazi. "We'll talk about it later." Lu Li shook his head after some thoughts. He would drink the Wayfarer to seek confirmation later. He turned to look at Exquisite Long. After talking for a while, he didn't dislike Exquisite Long so much anymore. Maybe it was because of their different bodies that they didn't like each other. Exquisite Long looked at Lu Li in a gentler way. Lu Li said, "Do you feel it? I have a strong sense of danger down there. Do you?" "Yes." Exquisite Long nodded and said, "I have the same feeling. It's a pity that psychic power cannot be used here. I don't know what is down there. Got a massacre. What should we do now?" Exquisite Long's attitude was much better now. Lu Li thought about it and said, "What can we do? Either we go down and have a look, or we can bring the 5th Tribulation Warriors down and let them have a look. Then we could go together. Go and bring them down." Exquisite Long didn't want to take the risk. More importantly, there were a bunch of old men up there who were experienced. Bringing them down and pooling their wisdom and experience might be able to come up with a better solution. Okay, Lu Li took out his interspatial artifact and put Exquisite Long in. Then he rushed out of the area of fire and asked Exquisite Long to take him out of the area of frost. They rushed out together and landed at the edge of the abyss. The others gathered around them. Exquisite Long didn't say anything. Lu Li explained to them, and they all agreed to go down and have a look. Exquisite Long put everyone into her interspatial artifact and went down with Luli again. When they arrived at the area of fire, Luli took them down again. Buzzing, standing above the blood pond, they looked into the pond. Some even went closer. Everyone felt a strong sense of danger, but didn't know where it was coming from. "I will go down and have a look." A powerful warrior of the Xiong family volunteered. Naturally, Xiong Linglong and Xiong Xiongfei could not be allowed to go first. It was their duty to do so. "I will go with you. We can look after each other," another powerful warrior said. Xiong Xiongfei nodded. They went into the blood pond together. The blood in the pond was so red that they couldn't see anything. Luli used the trace of Tao, and he could vaguely sense their life energy. The others were trying to sense what was going on in the blood pond as well. At first, the two didn't go too deep. They swam around in the shallow water area. Nothing happened after a while. They swam around in the shallow water area, but found nothing. They began to swim to the bottom of the blood pond. Luli sensed their life energy was getting weaker and weaker. The others couldn't sense anything either. That being said, they could tell that the two were still alive. The two were warriors of the fifth tribulation. They couldn't die quietly. Even if they were in danger down there, there would be something. Gradually, even Luli couldn't sense what was going on down there. He couldn't sense the two's life energy at all. Everyone's faces were taut as they waited quietly. Time moved on. After the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, nothing happened down there. Everyone was worried. Given the alertness of the two, they wouldn't be so rash to not report back after such a long time. After the time for 3 incense sticks to burn, Xiong Xiongfei looked awful. There were dozens of warriors of the fifth tribulation in the Xiong family, but the loss of any one of them was enough to break his heart. He hoped that nothing bad would happen to them. Trickle, trickle. After a while, there was some movement in the blood pond. Everyone's eyes glowed. They thought the two were not coming up. Luli had been using the trace of Tao to sense. Suddenly, his heart sank. Even though there was movement in the water, he didn't sense any signs of life. If that was the case, then there were either monsters down there or corpses floating up. I knew it. After a while, Luli sighed. He sensed 2 people floating up. It was the 2 he saw just now, but they were no longer breathing. Their bodies had turned into mummies. What? Chapter 2561. 2 fifth tribulation warriors, one at the initial stage and the other at the middle stage of the fifth tribulation. They were both older and experienced. The 2 went into the blood pond and died without a sound. There wasn't even a ripple in the pond when they died. Their bodies only floated to the surface after their deaths. Such a strange thing caused everyone's hair to stand on end. Was there an emperor down there? Even if there was a great emperor, he wouldn't be able to suck a person dry, right? Could there be a peerless old demon down there? Or was there a powerful warrior that knew how to use soul attacks to kill 2 fifth tribulation warriors without a sound? No matter what the situation was, this place was extremely dangerous. A thought appeared in everyone's mind. Leave this place as soon as possible. Of course, all of them were famous warriors who had weathered through storms. They wouldn't leave so easily. The group of people was silent, thinking about all kinds of situations and analyzing all kinds of possibilities. After the time for 1 incense stick to burn, Xiong Xiongfei broke the silence. Guys, what do we do? Do we go down or leave? Everyone started talking at once, and most of them expressed their intention to leave. This place was not the exit, but a place of extreme danger. They could all die if they went down, but there were others who didn't agree. They believed they would die sooner or later if they stayed in this world. Since this place was so strange, maybe the exit was in here. Xiong Xiongfei, Lu Li, and Exquisite Elephant Lu didn't say anything. Xiong Xiongfei looked at Lord Lu and said, "Lu, you know divination, right? How about you do it?" Lord Lu hesitated. After the time for a few breaths, he said, "Okay, I will do it. Please protect me." Okay. Everyone's eyes lit up. This person was rather famous in the frigid Tide Sea region, and his reputation was well-deserved. Perhaps he could really divine something? Lord Lu took out some turtle shells and some beast bones with strange patterns. He closed his eyes and got to work. A faintly discernible stream of energy flowed out from him, between the turtle shell and the beast bones. The turtle shell and the beast bones glowed as well, emitting divine energy. Lord Lu's face turned pale. After a while, blood came out from his mouth. After a while, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body trembled, and his eyes were filled with shock and bewilderment. "Old dear, are you all right?" Xiang Xiongfei quickly helped Lord Lu up and asked with concern, "How's the situation?" Lord Lu did not say a word. He closed his eyes and swallowed some recuperation medicine. After resting for 30 minutes, he opened his eyes and said, "Ominous heavenly trigram. There's a peerless, ferocious creature down there. However, this trigram is a little strange. There's a gate of life and gate of death down there. They are together. How strange." Everyone was confused. One of the impatient ones quickly asked, "Lord Lu, what's going on? Please explain it clearly." "I'm not too sure either." Lord Lu explained, "I'm sure that there are deadly creatures down there, but I've deduced that there are life and death gates down there. In other words, it's not necessarily a dead, and if we go down, there is a way out, but the way out and the way out are together. Whether we can survive or not depends on our luck." Many people roll their eyes. Everyone knew that there was a peerless monster down there. The path of death was easy to understand, but the path of life and the path of death were together. This was a little confusing. They were hesitating, not sure what to do. Xiang Xiongfei thought about it and asked Lu Li and Xiang Linglong, "What do you think?" Xiang Linglong answered without hesitation, "I think we could go down there and have a try. If we really die down there, then that is our destiny. We've been looking for an exit for so long. As long as there's a chance of survival, we cannot let it go." Xiang Xiongfei turned to Lu Li, who was hesitating as well. He said with a frown, "Since Lord Lu said there's a chance of survival, I think we should go down there and have a try. This world is full of dangers. Once we encounter the master of the barbarian race, none of us will be able to escape. Now that there is a chance, we have to try." "Okay," Xiang Xiongfei shouted, "I think we should go down there and have a try as well. How about this? Milu, Brother 6, and Brother 8 will go down there. The rest of you will wait at the top of the abyss. We will give our jade talismans of life to you. If we die, you can leave at once." Everyone Xiang Xiongfei picked was at the peak of the fifth tribulation, except for Lu Li. But Xiang Xiongfei believed that Lu Li was strong and unpredictable. A powerful warrior like Lu Li must go down there. "I will go down as well," Xiang Linglong said with determination. "I have my imperial weapon. I can be of some use at critical moments. You may not be as strong as me in this world." "Nonsense," Xiang Xiongfei scolded. "This is not a place for you to throw a tantrum. Behave yourself and go up there." "Grandpa Fei." Xiang Linglong didn't give in. She said with determination, "I am not a kid anymore. Didn't you tell me to gain more experience? What can I do if I stay under your protection? If I don't have the courage to face this, I will be a good-for-nothing forever." Looking at the determined look in Xiang Linglong's eyes, Xiang Xiongfei wanted to say something, but in the end, he held his tongue. Two warriors at the later stage of the fifth tribulation said, "Let's go down together. If we die, we die together. It is not a big deal." "Fine," Xiang Xiongfei sighed. Lu Li smiled. He gave Linglong a thumbs up and said, "Lady Linglong, this is the first time I like you." PFF. Xiang Linglong raised her head proudly and snorted, "I don't want you to like me. Don't use your old tricks. I have seen too many of them." "Ha ha ha." Lu Li laughed. Xiang Xiongfei, Lord Lu, and the others were surprised. Weren't they always at loggerheads? How come they changed so quickly? Did something happen when they were alone together for a while? Lu Li and Xiang Linglong took actions. They sent the others up. After all, on the off chance that some ferocious beast was drawn out, they would be blocked by the flames and frost. They couldn't even run away. They didn't act right away. Lord Lu was injured and needed time to rest. Lord Lu was put into his interspatial artifact. The others took out some elixirs to rejuvenate themselves. Half a day passed without anything happening down there. Lord Lu had recovered, and the others had taken some elixirs to rejuvenate themselves. "Let's go." They all took out their treasures. Luli took out his horn, soft sword, and even his flying sword. He exerted himself. Xiang Linglong took out her sovereign weapon, and the others took out their most powerful treasures. They went into the blood pond. The blood was sticky. As soon as they came in, they felt it was pitch dark. It was hard for others to sense anything. But they stayed together. They released some soul energy to communicate with each other. Chapter 2562. They went down for more than 20 miles, but they still hadn't reached the bottom. They were taken aback. But at this moment, the sense of danger in their souls was even stronger. They felt something could go wrong at any moment. Whoosh, there was a slight noise. Then, the pond seemed to come to life. They sensed many things were approaching them. Everyone was on high alert. Luli could sense something by using the trace of Tao. He was the first to notice what was coming. He told others at once, "Seaweed. Be careful." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The seaweed was moving fast. By the time they noticed it, the seaweed had reached them, trying to entangle them all. If it were average seaweed, it would be fine even if they were wrapped in layers. But clearly, this was not average seaweed. They had begun to attack. Many used their treasures. Some of the treasures landed on the seaweed, but the seaweed showed no reaction. Hoi! Xiang Linglong made a move. She swung her sovereign weapon at the seaweed. The sharpness of the sovereign weapon was not on the same level as other treasures. It was extremely sharp. Wherever the white jade fan passed, the seaweed would be cut off. Xiang Xiongfei had a sword in his hand, which was sharp as well. He could not cut the island in one go, but he could do it several times in a row. Luli controlled the sword to cut at the seaweed, but the sword was not good enough. He tried several times but could not cut off the seaweed. Of course, it was also because Luli's divine energy was in a mess. He could not fully control the sword. Whoosh! Fortunately, Xiang Linglong's sovereign weapon was impressive. It flew over and cut off the seaweed near Luli. This monarch weapon was more than enough to protect everyone from being attacked by the seaweed. Many parts of the island were cut off, but there was still seaweed coming. Everyone now understood why the two warriors had died without a sound. They must have been entangled by the seaweed in an instant. That was why they did not make too much noise. Maybe the seaweed had sucked away their life force. If it was just seaweed, then there would be no ferocious beasts here, and the place would not be so dangerous. Of course, they did not let their guard down. They were on high alert to check the surroundings. There was an endless amount of seaweed, and it kept attacking them. Exquisite Elephant used her white jade fan to quickly fly around them, cutting down all the seaweed that got close. No one dared to advance, nor did they dare to retreat. They could only continue to stand there in a deadlock. He wanted to see if there was an endless amount of seaweed. After being cut so many times, it should stop, right? Half an incense stick's worth of time passed, and the seaweed still hadn't stopped. Xiang Linglong's complexion had become extremely unsightly. Continuously using the Emperor armament while her divine power was in chaos was extremely difficult and could even harm her foundation. Let's wait for a while more before evacuating. Xiang Linglong thought about it and said in a deep voice. Everyone agreed. Without the protection of the sovereign weapons, it would be very difficult for them to defend. Xiang Linglong was already very weak, so they should retreat first. Xiao. At this moment, a seaweed that was thicker than ordinary seaweed suddenly shot over. It was so fast that Xiang Linglong didn't notice it. She controlled the white jade fan to fly over, wanting to cut the seaweed. Clang, clang, then the white jade fan collided with the seaweed, and a metallic sound rang out. The seaweed wasn't cut. Instead, it quickly spread to Xiang Linglong's side. Linglong, Xiang Xiongfei, was panicking. He dashed towards Xiang Linglong and waved his sword to attack the seaweed. But how could his sword do it when not even a sovereign weapon could cut it? Swish, swish, the seaweed entangled Xiang Linglong and then pulled her down. She struggled, but could not break free. Soon, she was dragged to the bottom of the blood pond. Once Xiang Linglong was entangled, no one could control the sovereign weapon anymore. The seaweed swarmed over, and everyone was entangled. Oh no! Many people's hearts were weighed down. They realized they could not move at all. They were being dragged to the bottom of the blood pond. Their hearts were weighed down. They remembered the deaths of 2 warriors of the 5th tribulation. Everyone here would become mummies in the end. Whoosh! Luli took out the godly metal. He wanted to use it to break the seaweed. However, the divine energy in his body was in chaos. He could not use the godly metal to its fullest. Without the godly metal, he could not use the godly metal. Whoosh! Several powerful warriors were dragged down. They remembered Lord Lu's prophecy. There was indeed something ferocious down there. Things did not bode well for them. Calm down. Luli forced himself to calm down. He used a trace of Tao to see what it was. After a moment, Luli finally sensed it. He trembled and was terrified. It was the bottom of the pond. The bottom was covered with seaweed. In the middle of the seaweed was a piece of land where a man was sitting with his legs crossed, a red-haired old man. The old man was only skin and bones. His sparse blood-red hair was hanging down his back. His face was covered with tattoos. There was no sign of life on him, not even a breath of life. The old man was tied up by the cold iron chains. His hands and feet were entangled. Even though he was not alive, Luli felt he was in danger. It was as if this old man was a sleeping dragon. Once he woke up, he would cause a great disaster. There were seaweeds all around, but none near the old man. Luli felt a chill run down his spine. There really was something ferocious down there, and the old man was a peerless demon. Many others sensed it as well. There was a faint glow on the cold iron chains. With the help of the glow, they could see what was going on. The mysterious blood pond, the mummified old man, the strong seaweed, the cold iron chains, all sorts of situations revealed how terrifying and bizarre this place was. It made everyone's hair stand on end, and their faces were filled with terror. At the moment, even Xiang Xiongfei and the others felt they were as helpless as children in front of the mummified old man. Even though there was no sign of life on the old man, they could tell he was still alive. Even if he was dead, he must be a ferocious monster. Xiang Linglong was the first to be dragged down. The seaweed was dragging her toward the mummified old man. Xiang Xiongfei struggled with all his strength. When he realized he could not get rid of the seaweed, he swung his sword and threw it at the mummified old man. Whoosh! The long sword shot out like a bolt of lightning, instantly arriving in front of the mummy. That mummified old man still had no sign of life. But at that moment, the mummified old man reached out a hand and blocked the sword. The sword hit the skinny old man's hand. But what happened next shocked everyone. The sword turned into dust bit by bit. In the end, the sword was reduced to dust. Hiss, hiss, everyone's heart was pounding. Their eyes were filled with terror. There was no energy fluctuation from that hand. It didn't seem like Luli had used any skills. How come Xiang Xiongfei's sword was reduced to dust with just a casual wave? Chapter 2563. After Xiang Xiongfei made his move, the seaweed that was dragging Xiang Linglong suddenly stopped. Then, the seaweed that was entangling Xiang Xiongfei moved as well. It pulled Xiang Xiongfei closer to the old man. Swish! When Xiang Xiongfei reached the old man's side, the red-haired old man's hand moved slightly, easily grabbing Xiang Xiongfei's neck. Then, a faint light shone from his hand, and Xiang Xiongfei's body suddenly became like a withered eggplant. His entire body became weak and listless. Then, something that shocked everyone happened again. Xiang Xiongfei's body caved in at a speed visible to the naked eye. Gradually, he became a mummy. His eyes were filled with terror. He looked just like the 2 5th tribulation warriors who had died earlier. After the time for 10 breaths, the seaweed let go of Xiang Xiongfei. There was no longer any qi and energy in his body. He floated up slowly and became a mummy. His eyes were wide open, filled with terror. He died with everlasting regret. This red-haired mummy was so powerful that it was terrifying. If Xiang Xiongfei's divine energy was not suppressed, he might have been able to struggle. But now he had no strength to fight back. It's over. Everyone, including Lu Li, was filled with despair and helplessness. Xiang Xiongfei was the strongest among them, but he couldn't even fight back. How could the rest of them fight back? He was on a completely different level from them. Xiang Xiongfei was the strongest among them, but he couldn't fight back. Swish! A piece of seaweed moved and dragged another fifth tribulation warrior down. The hand grabbed his neck easily. Then, the fifth tribulation warrior wilted. In the time for 10 breaths, he became a mummy. When the man died, the seaweed let go of him and the mummy floated up. The red-haired mummy didn't change at all. He was still like a living dead, without any chi and energy. The more it was like this, the more frightened people felt. They felt this was a ghost that could take away people's lives silently. If it were a normal warrior, they would not be so afraid. Swish! Seaweed moved again, and another expert of the Xiang family was pulled down. The remaining people's hearts were all tensed up to the extreme. No one knew who would be the next. Even though they knew nobody could run away, they still hoped they could be the last one. Exquisite Xiang was supposed to be the first one to go down, but Seaweed never moved. Lu Li and Old Deer were lucky. All the warriors that went down were from the Xiang family. Perhaps it was because Seaweed wanted to pull Xiang Linglong down that the Xiang family's people became anxious, and killing intent appeared in their eyes. 3, 4, 5. All the warriors of the Xiang family were dragged down and turned into jerky. Only Lu Li, Old Deer, and Exquisite Elephant were left on the surface. The three of them calmed down. Xiang Linglong was very strong. Her face was pale, and her eyes were filled with fear and despair. However, she didn't struggle, nor did she do anything. Xiao! Another seaweed moved. This time, it was Lu Li. Lu Li was pulled down quickly. He released dragon wrestling and tried his best to struggle free, but the strength of the seaweed was too horrifying. He could not break free. The red-haired old man was getting closer and closer. Lu Li made up his mind and took out his soft sword. He swung it and released his most powerful soul attack. On the other side, he took out a horn and blew it in his mouth. Woo-woo! A deep sound came out. The seawater was trembling. The soul attack was released, which affected Lord Lu and Xiang Linglong a bit. But the mummy did not move. Buzzing, Lu Li had no other choice. He took out the painting and put it in front of him, hoping that it could stop the old man's hand. On the other side, Lu Li let out Blood Fairy and the daughter of the Holy King. The daughter of the Holy King slapped at the old man. Bang! The old man's other hand moved and slapped out with the Divine Emperor's daughter. The Divine Emperor's daughter flew back and was bound by the seaweed. At the same time, the old man waved his hand and smashed away the painting. In the blink of an eye, he grabbed Lu Li's neck. A surge of strange energy surged into Lu Li's body. He felt he had lost all his strength. He could not move at all. He is dead, Lu Li sighed. He had used all his means. However, in front of this red-haired old man, he was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. They were not on the same level. This man must be a warrior of the great Emperor Realm. Lu Li was sure of this. Lord Realm warriors, or even quasi-Emperor Realm warriors, could not be this strong. He had sucked away so many people's life energy, but his body did not change much. Clearly, he had been here for many years. His body was about to run out. He had absorbed so much life energy, but his body did not change much. This indicated that his body was strong. To him, the life energy they had was like a grain of sand in the ocean. With such a strong body, unless he had a supreme divine body, he could only be a warrior of the great Emperor Realm. A warrior of the great Emperor Realm, even at the end of his life, could release energy that was horrifying. Therefore, in front of him, people were like children. They could not fight back. When a warrior of the great Emperor Realm wanted to kill you, no matter how you fought back, you could only accept your death. At this moment, Lu Li could clearly feel that the vitality in his body was being sucked out at a crazy rate into that huge hand. Life force was very important to a person. Once one's life force was depleted, that person would die. Lu Li felt he was getting weaker and weaker. Soon, he would pass away. Can there be a miracle? This was the last thought in Lu Li's mind. The dragon's soul didn't move because it didn't attack his soul. But so what if the dragon soul was protecting him? Could an enchanted soul stop a warrior of the great emperor realm? Buzzing. A miracle happened. Right at that moment, a trace of Tao in Lu Li's body lit up. Then a surge of mighty energy spread out from Lu Li's body. This mighty energy shocked Lu Li, Lord Lu, and Xiang Linglong. At that moment, Lord Lu and Xiang Linglong felt suffocated by Lu Li's energy, even more so than that of the red-haired old man. To Lord Lu and Xiang Linglong, Lu Li was like a powerful warrior at the Emperor realm. Lu Li's chi and energy were as vast as the sky. They could only look up to him. Both of them felt they were puny, like ants. An old and weak voice sounded. Following that, a weak life force appeared on the body of the red-haired old man. His eyes slowly opened. Lu Li looked into the eyes. He was convinced that this red-haired old man was a warrior of the great Emperor realm. When Lu Li looked into the eyes of this old man, he felt he was looking into a boundless starry sky. Chains of divine order. Lu Li sensed and was shocked. The chains of divine order that he had been unable to understand or use were moving at this moment. They seemed to be protecting their master. Was there a miracle? Chapter 2564. Lu Li had been studying the chains of sequence for a long time without making any progress. He could not consume them, move them, or trigger them. Apart from being in his body, the chains had nothing to do with him. However, at the critical moment, the chains of sequence suddenly glowed and emitted a horrifying and depressing energy. The red-haired old man didn't do anything. He opened his eyes as soon as the chains glowed. Lu Li could tell how powerful the chains of sequence were. Linglong and Lord Lu didn't know what had happened to Lu Li. All they knew was that Lu Li's energy had become more horrifying than that of the Walking Dead man. It was highly likely that the Walking Dead man was at the Great Emperor realm. How come Lu Li's energy was even more horrifying? Was Lu Li at the Great Emperor realm as well? The old man stared at Lu Li like a beast staring at him. Lu Li couldn't do anything at the moment. He stared at the old man, speechless. The old man was still holding Lu Li's neck. That being said, the hand stopped sucking Lu Li's life and energy. The old man didn't do anything either. He just stared at Lu Li, which made Lu Li's hair stand on end. The chains of sequence didn't do anything either. There was no backlash. They just glowed and continued to emit energy. After the time for more than a dozen breaths, a hoarse voice sounded in Lu Li's mind. "Punk, what is that in your body? Is it chains of sequence?" The old man suddenly sent a message. Lu Li didn't know how to answer. After a while, Lu Li made up his mind and replied, "So what? So what if it isn't?" "Ha ha." The old man replied with a laugh. "Punk, don't be too full of yourself. Even if it is chains of sequence, I can kill you as easily as crushing an ant. You haven't consumed the chains. They're not a threat to me." The old man's strength was unfathomable. Someone like him wouldn't lie. Lu Li replied after some thoughts. "Yes, a powerful warrior at the Great Emperor realm once told me that they are chains of sequence." Lu Li tried to use the name of the nameless demon emperor to intimidate the old man. But the old man didn't mind. He replied, "They really are chains of sequence. Punk, you're a lucky man. You have such a rare item. Although you haven't refined it yet, the fact that the God sequence chains are in your body is a great opportunity for you." For a moment, Lu Li did not know what the old man was trying to say. The old man also fell silent and even closed his eyes. No one knew what he was thinking. Ling Long and Lord Lu didn't even dare to breathe loudly, much less speak. They could only look down with wide eyes. This was especially true for Ling Long. She had originally despaired, but now she saw a glimmer of hope. There's a door of life within a door of death. Lord Lu's words reminded Xiang Linglong of something. There was indeed a peerless demon here. Many people had been killed, and they were about to die as well. Now, something had happened. Could it be that the door of life was with Lu Li? The old warrior said nothing for the time for one incense stick to burn. Then he sent out his soul energy and said to Lu Li, "Punk, how about we make a deal?" "Deal?" Lu Li was surprised. He asked, "What kind of deal do you want?" The old monster transmitted his voice. I'll let you live, but you have to help me do something. Luli was intrigued. He was delighted. Without any hesitation, he replied, What is it? It's useless to tell you now. The old warrior replied, My soul will go into your body. Don't worry. I will not take over your body. I will help you find a way to control the divine chains of order. Only when you have complete control of the divine chains of order can you help me. You are too weak now to help me. What? Lu Li's heart skipped a beat. He was alarmed. An old warrior's soul would go into his body? Even though the old warrior said he would not take over his body, who could guarantee that? Could this old monster have taken a fancy to his body and the God sequence chains and wanted to take it for himself? Buzzing, a shadow suddenly flew out from the old warrior and entered Lu Li's body. The shadow went directly into Lu Li's soul. The dragon's soul glowed, trying to stop the shadow. However, the shadow released a surge of horrifying chi and energy. The dragon's soul didn't dare to move, and it dimmed down. The shadow went into Lu Li's soul and said, Punk, it is too easy for me to take over your body and kill you. I will not lie to you. I have been dead for many years. This is just a remnant of my soul. I don't have a complete set of 7 spiritual and 6 physical souls. I am absorbing some life energy, not to bring me back to life. I just want my remnant of my soul to exist longer. Even if I take over your body, I cannot come back to life. And remnant of a soul is different from a soul. Without 7 spiritual and 5 physical souls, you don't have to worry too much. Remnant of a soul? Luli frowned. On second thought, the dragon's soul could not be contained. It would be too easy for the old warrior to kill him. The old warrior could devour Lu Li's soul, and the divine chains of order didn't do anything. Would they protect their master? Even so, Lu Li was still hesitating. He was worried that there was a remnant of a soul in his body, a powerful one at that. Naturally, he would not say yes easily. Buzzing, the shadow came back and went back into the old warrior's body. After a pause, the old warrior said again, Punk, if you are worried, then my remnant of a soul will go into my bead of soul. You can take my bead of soul with you, right? I was a powerful warrior at the 3rd heaven. Do you think I will lie to a kid like you? Okay. Luli nodded and replied, You think so highly of me. How can I say no? As long as it is within my abilities, I will do my best. That's good. The old warrior said, Do you want to kill the 2 or erase their memories? It's up to you. Anyways, they cannot know about me. Erase their memories. Luli said at once. Too many people had died. Erasing their memories would be the same as erasing their memories. The 2 would know about the deal between Lu Li and the old warrior or about the divine chains of order. Whoosh! The seaweed above them moved, and Elephant Ling Long and Lord Lu were pulled down. The 2 of them were shocked. However, before they could do anything, a shadow flew over and the 2 of them fainted. Nothing happened, but the remnant of the old warrior's soul came back. A bead appeared in the old warrior's hand, and then he disappeared into the bead of soul. Lu Li put away the bead of soul. He was about to put it into his interspatial ring when a gentle breeze came out from the bead of soul. The old warrior said, Hang it around your waist or in your sleeve. I can talk to you this way. Do you think you can leave this small world without my guidance? Lu Li was delighted. He asked, Sir, do you know how to get out? The old warrior sneered and replied, It is all because of me that you can enter this small world. I am the one who opened the exit, and I am the one who triggered the abnormal phenomena. I was going to lure some people in to absorb some life energy and refine some remnant souls to create an evil skill to forcefully change fate. But now that I have met you, I have changed my mind. As long as you work hard, I am confident that I can help you reach the Emperor realm. By then, you can fulfill my dying wish. What? Lu Li was taken aback. He had suspected that there must be some shocking secrets in the abnormal phenomena. Little did he know that it was the work of this old warrior. How could he still be so powerful after his death? Lu Li's lips trembled. He couldn't help but ask, Sir, if I may ask, are you at the Emperor realm? Emperor realm? Ha ha. The old warrior sneered and said, "If I were still alive, I would have reached the saint's sovereign realm by now." Sad, pitiful, hateful. Chapter 2565. Luli hung the bead of soul on his waist, and then put exquisite elephant and Lord Lu into the heaven separation bead. Luli didn't rush to go up. He thought about how to explain to the two later. The two's memories were erased. They must have lost all their memories, but they still remembered the blood pond. So many people had died, and the three of them were safe and sound. If he didn't give a clear explanation, it would arouse the two's suspicions. There were so many people in the abyss. Luli had to give an explanation. Luli went up to the blood pond and talked to the warrior. After some inquiries, Luli learned that the old freak had a nickname called the Blood Evil King. The Blood Evil King didn't elaborate on the specifics, but Luli could tell from his words that this man was a famous, powerful warrior at the third heaven hundreds of thousands of years ago. Back then, the Blood Evil King was badly wounded by several enemies and fled into this small world. He wanted to heal his wounds in this small world. However, one of the enemies used a kind of poison which he could not solve. After thousands of years, he had to disintegrate himself and condense a remnant of his soul. Because of the thousands of years, the Blood Evil King left behind many arrangements. The barbarians in this small world were not so strong before. It was the Blood Evil King's amazing formation that changed the Xian Qi in heaven and earth. Also, the Blood Evil King secretly passed on some skills to the barbarians. Gradually, the barbarians grew stronger. Also, the divine energy in this small world was not natural. It was because of this amazing formation. The Blood Evil King didn't build it to deal with the barbarians. He just didn't want the barbarians to cultivate divine energy. He just wanted them to cultivate their bodies. To cultivate their bodies, their qi and blood would be strong, and so would their vitality. Luli's qi and blood were strong. The Blood Evil King knew a kind of evil skill. He wanted to use the vitality of many barbarians to reverse yin and yang to be reborn. Unfortunately, after so many years, he never succeeded. The small world was sealed by him. Since the barbarians could not help him reverse yin and yang to be reborn, the Blood Evil King opened up an entrance and used his amazing skill to trigger some anomalies in heaven and earth. Why did he trigger anomalies in heaven and earth? The Blood Evil King needed a large number of warriors to come in and use their souls to refine the evil skill. Hundreds of thousands of martial artists were attracted here, and these martial artists were basically all killed. However, the Blood Evil Sovereign still didn't succeed. Now that Lu Li and the others had found his body, he would not miss the chance. He planned to suck away all their vitality to prolong the time his remnant soul could stay. But when he saw Lu Li's chains of order, he changed his mind. He wanted to use Lu Li's strength to avenge him. This was the whole story. It was so mysterious that Lu Li felt he was talking about a book from the Bible. If it were not for the fact that the Blood Evil King's means were horrifying and abnormal, Lu Li would have believed it to be a story. The cruelty of the Blood Empire had refreshed Lu Li's understanding of the Blood Empire. He kept millions of savages in captivity and harvested them in batches. He even lured hundreds of thousands of martial artists in and harvested all of them, using their souls to refine evil arts. However, in this world, the strong were respected. Many of the strong had no sense of morality and were self-centered. In the eyes of an Emperor Stage powerhouse, a few low-level cultivators were no different from ants. No matter how many they killed, they wouldn't have any qualms. Little Lu, the Blood Empire, seemed to have sensed Lu Li's distrust. He said, "Your realm is too low. You cannot understand what I am telling you now. When you reach the Emperor Stage one day, you will be able to feel the strength and power of an Emperor Stage warrior. Let me put it this way. This small world is big, right? But any Emperor Stage warrior can destroy this small world in one move." "What?" Luli gasped. This small world was huge, even larger than a region outside. A Emperor Stage warrior could destroy this small world in one move? That was such a powerful force. Do you know that there were not so many continents in the third heaven? Once again, the blood-evil emperor threw out something that shocked Lu Li. In the old days, all the continents in the third heaven were connected together. The reason why there are so many continents is that the continents are separated. The reason why there were so many continents was because several saint kings fought and the third heaven was shattered. What? How is that possible? Once again, Lu Li felt he was listening to a fairy tale. The Blood Empire sneered and said, "There are many things you don't know. There used to be several heavens above the third heaven. Now they have all collapsed. In the old days, there were no saint kings in the third heaven. Those saint kings came down from above. The secrets hidden in this world are beyond your imagination." The collapse of worlds above the third heaven was not only a mystery to Lu Li, but also to countless warriors of the third heaven. Lu Li asked with a frown, "Lord Evil Emperor, do you know why worlds above the third heaven collapsed?" "I know some," the Blood Empire replied, "but don't ask so many questions. You are too weak now. Knowing too much will not do you any good. In this world, only Lord Realm warriors can be regarded as powerful warriors. Only Emperor Stage warriors can have the ability to dominate the world. When you reach the Emperor Stage one day, I will tell you many things." Emperor Stage, Lu Li felt bitter. He felt the Emperor Stage was still far away from him. Chapter 2566. At the top of the abyss, Lu Li did not say much. He just told them to leave. The death of Xiang Xiongfei and the others was a great blow to their morale. Everyone's expressions changed. They were in a state of panic. All they could do now was to follow Lu Li and the other two blindly. Lu Li asked Blood Fairy to lead the way. Xiang Linglong and Lord Lu were full of questions, but it was not the right time for them to ask. They just followed Lu Li. After 10 hours, they found a small valley. Lu Li asked Blood Fairy to build some runes. When the runes were done, Lu Li waved his hand and said to everyone, "Don't be upset. I have found some clues. Let me run some calculations. Maybe we can find the exit. Just stay in the valley." Everyone was a bit surprised. Seeing that Lu Li's expression didn't seem to be fake, everyone became excited again. They all waited quietly. Lu Li brought Lord Lu and Xiang Linglong into the separation bead. He knew that they must have many questions. As soon as they went in, Xiang Linglong asked, "God, a massacre. Are you hiding something from us?" According to Xiang Linglong's memory, not long after they entered the blood pond, they were all fine. However, she could not remember anything else. She was surprised. In particular, Xiang Xiongfei and the others were dead, but Lu Li and them were still alive. Lu Li brought them up. She could not help but feel suspicious. Lu Li knew that Xiang Linglong would have doubts, but he did not want to explain the real reason. For one thing, the Blood Emperor had said that he could not tell others about him. For another, he did not want others to know that he had chains of order. Therefore, Lu Li explained, "There is a ferocious creature down there that knows strong soul attacks. It just so happens that I am good at soul attacks. I managed to survive. I only had time to drag you away. The others could not do anything." Lu Li's explanation was passable. He was a powerful warrior in soul attacks, which was a well-known fact. Soul attacks were silent. The death of the two at the beginning could be explained. It made sense that he could bring them up. Xiang Linglong was about to say something when Lord Lu gave Lu Li a meaningful look. Lord Lu changed the subject. "Lu, did you say that you found a way out?" "Yes." Lu Li and Lord Lu looked at each other. Lu Li suspected that Lord Lu had guessed something. Since Lord Lu didn't want to ask, Lu Li wouldn't press the matter. Lu Li said, "You know that I know something about formations. I think the blood pond is the core of a formation and the entire small world is a formation. I've been observing this world for the past few days, and I've gained some insights. Allow me to deduce it, and I think I'll be able to deduce the exit." Of course, Lu Li was talking nonsense. He already knew where the exit was. The Blood Evil King had told him. He just needed to give the two some time to accept it. When they got out, Lu Li would part ways with the others. He would go directly to the spatial city and then go back to the Ziyang land. Even if Xiang Linglong suspected him, he wouldn't be in contact with the Xiang family. Luli pretended to be in closed-door cultivation, but he was actually cultivating in secret. Seeing that she couldn't get anything out of him, Xiang Linglong didn't ask any more questions and just sat there in sorrow. She didn't care about the deaths of the others, but Xiang Xiongfei had treated her very well. Furthermore, the death of Lord Xiang Xiong had left her grieving for a long time. 3 or 4 days later, Lu Li opened his eyes, excited. Lord Lu asked, "Have you figured it out?" Xiang Linglong opened her eyes and looked at Lu Li. Lu Li nodded and said, "I am sure. I need to observe more, but I think the general direction is right." "Let's go then." Lord Lu waved his hand. Lu Li left with Xiang Linglong, and Xiang Linglong and the others left the valley. They were thrilled to know that Lu Li had figured out the direction of the exit. Lu Li asked Blood Fairy to explore the way while they hurried on. Blood Fairy could easily tell if there were any barbarians nearby. Therefore, the journey was smooth. What? After running for a few hours, someone realized that something was wrong. They were heading towards the center of the world, and the center of the world was home to the 3 savages. Xiang Linglong also noticed and asked, "Death God Lu, did you make a mistake in your calculations? This is the base camp of the barbarians. The further we go, the more barbarians there will be. We won't be able to run away." Lu Li forced a smile. He knew it as well. The exit was in one of the barbarian tribes, the most powerful of all. This was set up by the Blood Evil King so that those who came in could not leave easily. Recluse Coal Mountain and the others had been searching for a long time, but they could not find the exit. That was because they did not dare to go to the base camp of the barbarians. The king of the barbarians was there. Even if they tried, they would not be able to find the exit. If it were not for the remnant soul of the Blood Evil King, Lu Li would not have the courage to go to the base camp of the barbarians. But the Blood Evil King had said that as long as he was there, the barbarians would not attack. He was the ancestor of all the barbarians. The barbarians here could be so powerful all because of him. He would send down miracles from time to time through the formation. All the barbarians regarded him as their ancestor. Lu Li explained with certainty, "Yes, I can sense the direction. If you trust me, when we run into a large group of barbarians, I will put you into an interspatial artifact and take you out." But they were hesitating. After all, in an interspatial artifact, their lives would be in Lu Li's hands. Many still did not trust Lu Li, especially those of the Xiang family. "Okay." "Later, when we run into a large group of barbarians, we will count on you. I trust you." Lord Lu was the first to make his stance clear. Lu Li's team didn't have any objections. They had seen what Lu Li could do. He could defeat thousands or tens of thousands of barbarians on his own. If it were not for Lu Li, they would have died a long time ago. "I trust you." Xiang Linglong nodded and said. She had been put into Lu Li's interspatial ring. After learning that Lu Li also had the cursed devil's body of 7 trials, Xiang Linglong's impression of Lu Li changed. Somehow, she was relieved. Now that the 2 leaders had no objections, the others said nothing else and followed Lu Li on. They hadn't run into a single barbarian after a day and a half, which made them admire Lu Li's skills and put their minds at ease. "There are people up ahead." Right at that moment, Lu Li suddenly stopped. He was surprised and said, "There are quite a lot of them, almost 1,000. How come they have survived until now?" Lord Lu, Xiang Linglong, and the others were surprised. It had been a long time. Most of the people that came in should have died. It was already hard enough to see someone alive. How come there are almost 1,000 people up ahead? "Let's go and have a look." Lord Lu waved his hand. There must be some powerful warriors over there if they could survive until now. It would be safer if they could work together. Lu Li didn't think so. He could leave easily now without help. But since Lord Lu and Xiang Linglong all had the same idea, he couldn't say much. If they were sensible, Lu Li wouldn't mind taking more people with him. Staying here would only lead to death. Chapter 2567. Soon, they ran into some warriors. There were some powerful warriors among the 1,000 warriors. Before they could get close, they were noticed. Whoosh! More and more warriors came over. Xiang Linglong looked at them from the distance and was surprised. Then she said with pleasant surprise, Ding Dong is here. Lady Ding Dong? Chi Ding Dong? It really is Lady Ding Dong. When did she come in? I don't remember seeing her at first. Did she come in later? Isn't that Lord Chi Tianyi next to Lady Ding Dong? There are some powerful warriors from the spatial city with him. How can they survive for so long? They are powerful warriors from the Qi family of the spatial city. Lu Li raised his eyebrows. A young lady from the spatial city? He didn't see them at first. Did they come in later? There was a powerful warrior next to the young lady. Lu Li could tell he was a powerful warrior of the Lord Realm. Linglong, Lady Ding Dong shouted from the distance. The two must have known each other for a long time. As the most important young lady of the Xiang family, it was not surprising that Linglong knew young ladies from the spatial city. Xiang Linglong flew over, and the two of them hugged each other. Both of them were top-notch beauties. Young Mistress Ding Dong was even dressed very provocatively. The two of them hugged each other, causing everyone to be envious. Many people wished they were the ones hugging. Lord Lu and the others went to greet them. Lord Lu and several others bowed to Qi Tianyin. Qi Tianyin only responded coldly without saying anything. He was very arrogant. Lord Lu, on the other hand, didn't feel comfortable at all. Instead, he thought it was reasonable. He said to Lu Li, Lu, this is a patriarch of the Qi family from the spatial city. He is only at the peak of the fifth tribulation realm, but he is no weaker than a Lord Realm warrior. Lu Li nodded. Lord Lu then introduced Lu Li to Qi Tianyin. Lord Qi, let me introduce you. This is God of Massacre Lu. Thanks to his protection, we are able to survive. Oh, Qi Tianyin was a bit surprised. He glanced at Lu Li, but soon he did not think so. He nodded with pride. Lu Li was about to salute with respect, but he just casually cupped his fists and said, Lord Qi. Some of them were from the Qi family, some were from the spatial city, and many were old acquaintances of the Xiang family. Both sides gathered together and talked nonstop. Sure enough, the people from the spatial city were the last to enter. They had nearly 10,000 people, led by a Lord-class expert. However, they had suffered a powerful attack from the barbarians, and now only a few people were left. Both sides gathered together, and the people on both sides sighed and lamented. It wasn't easy for everyone to survive, not to mention there were many people they knew. Qi Ding Dong and Xiang Linglong chatted for a while. Xiang Linglong dragged Qi Ding Dong over and introduced her to Lu Li. God of Massacre, this is Ding Dong. She's a young lady from the spatial city, my good friend. Qi Ding Dong rolled his eyes and stared at Lu Li. Before Lu Li could say anything, a cunning glint appeared in her eyes. She stuck out her tongue and said, Linglong, is this your sweetheart? Bah! Xiang Linglong's pretty face turned red, and she pretended to tear Qi Ding Dong's mouth apart. What nonsense are you talking about, girl? Qi Ding Dong laughed and said in a mocking tone, Everyone at the Frigid Sea knows that Lady Linglong is an iceberg beauty. She never pretends to talk to men. My brother Tianyu has been pursuing you for years, but you never paid any attention to him. Now, you have brought me here to meet this man. Isn't it normal? After a while, Qi Ding Dong walked over. Lu Li forced a smile, cupped his fists, and said, Greetings, Lady Linglong. Ha ha, you're welcome. Qi Ding Dong was easy to get along with. Maybe it was because Linglong was introducing Lu Li so seriously. She blinked and said, God of Massacre, you must work hard and try to take me down. Then, you can make all the young masters of the Frigid Sea jump over the wall. You are still talking, Xiang Linglong chased after Lu Li again. Qi Ding Dong begged for mercy and said, Okay, no more jokes. Let's talk business. God of Massacre, Linglong said you're sure you can get us out? Yeah. Qi Tianyin and the others looked at Lu Li. Many others also stared at him, their eyes filled with excitement. They had been wandering around in there for a long time, but they couldn't find the exit. There were only less than 1,000 of the 10,000 people left. Lu Li thought about it and said, I am sure, but the exit may be in the base camp of the barbarians. If you want to go with us, you must be prepared to die. Lu Li didn't want to leave with these people. He didn't have a good feeling about Chi Tianyin. He was afraid that something might go wrong. If it weren't for the fact that he had been with Lady Linglong, Lu Li would have left on his own. Base camp of the barbarians? Lu Li's words shocked everyone. Chi Ding Dong and Chi Tianyin didn't look so good. Soon, some people had their doubts. Even if there was an exit, how could they get in? The three major barbarian tribes were not far away from each other. They had three tribe leaders who were as powerful as Lord Warriors. Here, no one could use divine power, and their battle prowess was greatly reduced. Not even Lord Warriors could compete with the king of the barbarians. The fact that several Lord Warriors had been killed was proof. Now, Lu Li wanted to take them to the base camp of the barbarians? What was the difference between this and suicide? Many people had their doubts. Some even mocked and laughed at Lu Li. Clearly, they didn't trust him. It was because Lu Li's realm was low, only at the initial stage of the fourth tribulation. If he were a Lord Warrior, some might believe him. "Got a massacre?" Chi Ding Dong asked. "You said the exit is in the base camp of the barbarians. How do you know? What is the basis? You can't just say it as a guess." If it weren't for the fact that she was good friends with Xiang Linglong, Chi Ding Dong wouldn't have asked. She was wearing a serious expression. She was wearing a purple dress. Her face was as pretty as jade, and her eyes were as bright as stars. She was quite charming. Her legs were long, and her waist was slim. Her temperament was changeable. She was like an elf. Many people were questioning Lu Li. He didn't want to explain. It was up to him to believe it or not. But since Chi Ding Dong was asking, Lu Li had to explain, "I have some knowledge of rune formations. This world has been refined by a mighty warrior. There's a powerful formation here. Since there's a formation, there must be some traces left. I have been in this world for a long time and found some traces. I figured out where the exit is." "I see," Chi Ding Dong nodded. Clearly, he was not satisfied with Lu Li's explanation. More importantly, Lu Li was young. How could he have learned rune formations at such a young age? Rune formations were not the same as learning fundamental principles. Some geniuses might be able to learn some fundamental principles and laws easily. But rune formations were not something that could be learned overnight. It required years of effort and gradual learning. Chi Ding Dong thought about it and asked again, "Let's say the exit is at the base camp of the barbarians. Are you sure you can take us in? There is a barbarian king over there. He is more powerful than us." "I'm not sure." Lu Li shrugged and said, "I just want to try. If you want to go with me, then go. If not, just go on your own. It is as simple as that." Chapter 2568. Everyone could tell that Lu Li was not in a good mood. Some powerful warriors from the spatial city were displeased. Chi Ding Dong and Chi Tianyin, on the other hand, took it seriously. Why? If Lu Li didn't have something up his sleeve, how could he be so arrogant? What good would it do him to be so arrogant? Also, Lord Lu was a famous powerful warrior, and Xiang Linglong was the most important young lady of the Xiang family. She had always been arrogant. She didn't even think highly of Chi Tianyu, the most important young master of the Qi family in the spatial city. How could she be so friendly to Lu Li? The more Lu Li didn't want them to go with him, the more curious they would be about him. If Lu Li begged them to go with him, they would look down on him. Chi Tianyin sent a message to Lord Lu. "Is there something special about this guy?" Lord Lu answered, "I did some divination after I came in. This place is full of doors of death. The only chance of survival lies with Lu Li." On the other side, Chi Ding Dong asked Xiang Linglong, "Linglong, can your lover really take us out?" "What lover? I will be mad if you say more." Xiang Linglong glared at him. She thought for a while and replied, "I don't know, but he is strange. I have a feeling he can do it." "Eh." Chi Ding Dong looked at Lu Li in surprise, and then began to talk to Chi Tianyin. In the end, Chi Ding Dong said, "Got a massacre. You have to give us some confidence. How can we avoid the master of the barbarian race's attack? You won't believe anything I say. Even if I say I can kill the master of the barbarian race, will you believe me?" Lu Li sighed and said, "Trust me and come with me. But you must go into the interspatial artifact, or you will die for sure." I am confident that I can go through by myself. I don't care if you don't go into the interspatial artifact. What? Many looked at Lu Li with doubt. If Lu Li went into the interspatial artifact, then their lives would be in his hands. If Lu Li were to die, then everyone else would have to wait for death or be trapped in the interspatial artifact for the rest of their lives, unless a mighty warrior took control of the interspatial artifact by force. All of a sudden, there was a lot of discussion. Many people expressed their distrust of Lu Li. Some even suggested to have a fight with Lu Li to see what he could do. Lu Li was annoyed by the situation. He shouted, "I will only wait for the time for one incense stick to burn, and so will you. I can tell you clearly that if I'm not wrong, the exit is in the barbarians' main camp. I have a certain level of confidence in breaking out, but you must enter my spatial god tool. If you're willing to follow me, then we'll leave in the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. If you're not willing, then think of a way to leave on your own." With that said, Lu Li paid no more attention to the others. He sat on the side with his legs crossed, like an enlightened master. The discussions in the surroundings became even louder. The people from Spatial City were clearly unhappy. Who would be willing to follow an early-stage Fourth Tribulation cultivator and leave their lives in the hands of an early-stage Fourth Tribulation cultivator? Furthermore, this early-stage Fourth Tribulation cultivator still had to barge into the tiger's den and enter the savage tribe. Lord Lu walked to Lu Li's back without any hesitation. The more than 100 people who followed Lu Li also walked over without any hesitation. The Xiang family's people were bewildered and looked at Xiang Linglong. Xiang Linglong thought about it and walked over to Lu Li as well. The Xiang family warriors made up their minds and followed them. Qi Tianyin and Qi Dingdong were troubled. They did not trust Lu Li, but Lord Lu and Xiang Linglong. Subconsciously, they told themselves that they should not trust a warrior at the early stage of the Fourth Tribulation. But at the same time, they wanted to give it a try. What if Lu Li really could bring them out? Time ticked by, and soon an incense stick's worth of time was up. Qi Tianyin spoke with Lord Lu, and Qi Dingdong exchanged a few words with Xiang Linglong. After a brief discussion, Qi Tianyin said, "Young friend Lu, how about this? I will put them into my interspatial ring, and I will go with you. What do you think?" "Nothing." Lu Li was determined. He said in a deep voice, "Either you go into my spatial god tool, or you go on your own. These are the only two options." Lu Li's overbearingness enraged the Qi family. Someone was about to lose his temper when Qi Tianyin threw him a glance. That person stopped. Qi Tianyin thought about it and suddenly said, "If you can bring us out, the Qi family will be grateful. But can you show us what you can do? After all, you are only at the initial stage of the Fourth Tribulation, and you are so young. I have to be responsible for so many people. I hope you can understand. Show me what I can do." Lu Li was surprised. How could he do that? He was nothing in front of Qi Tianyin. 10 moves wouldn't do him any good. While Qi Tianyin was hesitating, a gust of wind came out from Lu Li and blew into Qi Tianyin's body. Qi Tianyin trembled, and then the gust of wind blew back. The Blood Evil King had made a move. Clearly, the Blood Evil King had noticed the conversation between Lu Li and Qi Tianyin. This move stunned Qi Tianyin. Qi Tianyin's soul trembled, but the enchanted soul in his soul showed no reaction. His soul even felt cold. Powerful soul warrior? Qi Tianyin threw Lu Li a glance, and then sent a message to Lord Lu at once. Lord Lu confirmed that Lu Li was a powerful soul warrior and had a profound understanding of souls. Okay. Qi Tianyin gritted his teeth and made up his mind. He shouted in a deep voice, "Little friend Lu, my Qi family will go with you. They can decide for the rest." The Qi family warriors were taken aback. They didn't expect that Qi Tianyin would agree so easily. Even Qi Dingdong was surprised. This uncle of his was old-fashioned. Qi Tianyin had absolute authority here. The Qi family warriors didn't say anything. Qi family warriors had over 300 warriors, and there were over 600 left. The group of people looked at each other, not knowing what to choose. Qi Tianyin didn't know what to do. They had been wandering around for a long time and there were fewer and fewer warriors. He didn't even know how long he could last. He didn't mind if he died, but Chi Ding Dong was a favorite of a great patriarch. Chi Tianyin didn't want Chi Ding Dong to die here at such a young age. Let's go. Lu Li waved his hand. He didn't care about the rest of the warriors. He led them forward in a formidable array. Of the remaining hundreds, over 200 made up their minds and followed Lu Li. The others didn't. The team of hundreds had become a team of 1,000. It didn't make any difference to Lu Li. After all, the separated heaven bead was big enough. He didn't need anyone's help. Blood Fairy continued to explore while the others followed Lu Li around. There were many warriors of the Fifth Tribulation, but they were following a warrior at the initial stage of the Fourth Tribulation, who was the core of the team. Inevitably, this was awkward and uncomfortable. But Lord Chi Tianyin and Lu Li didn't say anything. The others didn't say anything either. They had been moving on for more than 2 hours without encountering a single wild man. This was unbelievable. They began to look at Lu Li in a different light. Ling Long, your sweetheart is quite something. Chi Ding Dong and Xiang Ling Long were in the middle of the team, whispering to each other. Xiang Ling Long rolled her eyes and said, "Girl, I beg you, let me go. I have nothing to do with him. We're just friends." That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.